Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome on in to the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. Just give me another 5 seconds here. Welcome on in. Welcome to the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. I'm just pouring myself a nice ice cold water. Oh, hold on, let me just do that. Got the water. Welcome on in, everybody. September 25th, 2025. What a year. What a day of developments all over the world. The fever in many ways is breaking. The tide is turning. And as an audio listener, I'm always jump scared if it's that one song or if you're actually live. Yes, that was the point. We've got a lot of fun content for you today, chat. Sometimes I forget how influential we really are. David Hogg on Adam Friedland. I, in many ways, really dislike David Hogg. And in some other ways, I have sympathy for him. And I have hope for him. But the pragmatic side of me says that it's not going to happen and that he's a problem. S&P open -4. I mean, -40 ain't shit. Stocks fall for third day as once hot AI play falls and yields increase. That means people are selling US bonds for cash. So everybody's kind of like starting to rotate into cash. Oh boy. Trump tax breaks give racehorse market a boost. I bet you David Hogg would come. I don't think I could be nice to David Hogg. Any prediction if Trump is going to give soy farmers a bailout? I believe that it's pretty simple to understand. Donald Trump will Donald Trump personally profit from the bailout? If yes, he'll definitely give it. If no, then you go to question 2. Question 2 is the group a big and known as a big Trump supporting group? If yes, he will bail it out about 75-80%. And if the group is not a Trump supporting group and he doesn't personally profit, the odds of a bailout are 0. Unless the stock market crashes because of it, in which case he will do a bailout. So that's pretty much a way to understand Trump. The ASA is going ballistic because Argentina undercut tariffed farmers and cut deals with China and then begged for the bailout. Yeah, I mean, they got a bailout because they cut the welfare state and helped foreign capitalists. And so when their economy crashed, like of course it did, now they're getting a bailout. It's not to protect Argentina. This is what you guys need to understand. The bailout of Argentina is not to protect Argentina. The bailout of Argentina is to protect right-wing Wall Streeters who bought Argentinian bonds. Okay? It's about protecting Wall Street investors who are aligned with Trump and Musk, who invested money in Argentinian pesos and Argentinian bonds. It is not to help Argentina because no reasonable person looking at their policies would think it's going to help Argentina. It's only for the interest of foreign capitalists. So what are we talking about today? All right. Donald Trump wants to prosecute James Comey. Donald Trump is basically forcing the FBI and the DOJ. They are putting in their cronies and they're basically going to prosecute James Comey. And as I've said, 9 years now, Donald Trump only goes into the White House in 2016 or wins in 2016 because of the James Comey letter suppresses support for a surging Hillary Clinton right at the election. James Comey basically handed the election to Donald Trump, and his reward is 9 years later, his ass is going, 11 years later, his ass is going to prison. Did you see Ken Klippenstein's reporting on the ICE shooter? Yes, I did. We're going to talk about that as well. Scott Bessant on Fox News while discussing Argentina bailout said he wouldn't bail out New York if Zoran wins. Yeah, there's an international fascist. I mean, obviously, that makes perfect sense. A link for China Glaze. China pledges to cut greenhouse gas emissions.
China will, by 2035, reduce economy-wide net greenhouse gas emissions by 7% to 10% from peak levels. Striving to do better, increasing the share of non-fossil fuels in total energy consumption to over 30%.
绿色低碳转型是时代潮流。
Green and low carbon transition is the trend of our time. While some countries are acting against it, the international community should stay focused on the right direction, remain unwavering in confidence, unremitting in actions, and unrelenting in intensity, and push for formulation and delivery on nationally determined contributions, with a view to providing more positive energy to the cooperation on global climate governance.
为全球气候治理合作注入更多正能量。
Now, I think what I would say on this is China has a tendency to underpromise and overdeliver. So they're currently 6 years ahead of their goals that they previously set. And so 7 to 10% is not enough. I mean, just being completely brutally honest, 7 to 10% is not enough, but it is a reversal of the trend that China has had over the last 40 years of massively increased carbon dioxide emissions. So this would be I think 10% of China's greenhouse gases is like 4 times the UK, like total emissions. So the amount of emissions we're talking about reducing is absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. But China probably needs to do like 30, 40, maybe even 50% if we're going to make 1.5 degrees C. I think most people have said that 1.5 degrees centigrade is no longer possible. And I think to hit 2 degrees, they probably need to double that at least. So hopefully they're doing the China thing where they under promise and over deliver, which they have traditionally done. Hegseth orders rare urgent meeting of hundreds of generals and admirals. The Pentagon has summoned military officials from around the world for a gathering in Virginia. Even top generals and their staffs don't know the reason for the meeting. You know, if you were a Democrat, if the Democratic Party was any kind of political opposition, they would be doing a head count of how many generals are loyal to the Republic and how many are MAGA. I'm not kidding. This, you know, listen, I don't know if we're invading Venezuela. I don't know if we're attacking China. I don't know if they're doing a military coup where it's a Saddam Hussein style meeting where they fire everybody who's a registered Democrat, but it's not good. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered hundreds of the U.S. military's generals, admirals to gather on short notice and without a stated reason at a Marine Corps base in Virginia next week. So confusion and alarm after the Trump administration's firing of numerous senior leaders this year. This highly unusual directive was sent to virtually all top military commanders worldwide. The directive was issued later this week as a government shutdown looms and months after Hegseth's team at the Pentagon announced plans to undertake a sweeping consolidation of top military commands. Like, this right here is very concerning because it says to me that they're going to fire all the professional military commanders that are loyal to the Constitution and try to install MAGA guys. There are 800 generals and admirals spread across the United States and dozens of other countries and time zones. Hegseth's order, people familiar with the matter said, applies to all senior officer with the rank of brigadier general above or their Navy equivalent, which is rear admiral, serving in command positions and their enlisted advisors. Typically, these officers each oversee hundreds or thousands of rank and file troops. Top commanders in conflict zones and senior military leaders stationed throughout Europe, the Middle East, and Asia Pacific are among those expected to attend the meeting. The order does not apply to top military officers who hold staff positions. None of the people who spoke with the Post could recall a defense secretary ever ordering so many of the military's generals and admirals to assemble like this. Several said it raised security concerns. People are very concerned. They have no idea what it means. 2 others expressed frustration that even many commanders stationed overseas will be required to attend. One said, "This is not how this is done. You don't call GFOs leading their people and the global force into an auditorium outside DC and not tell them why and what the topic or agenda is," a person said, using an abbreviation for general officer or flag officer. Are we taking every general and flag officer out of the Pacific right now? All of it is weird. The orders came as Hegseth has unilaterally directed massive recent changes, including directing the number of general officers reduced by 20%. I gotta say that normally I'd be in favor of this. Normally, I'd be like, yeah, we should do that. But I think it's more of an excuse to do a military purge. They're massively increasing the amount of money going to the Pentagon. This is a way of removing the most professional, the most, loyal to the Constitution Firing senior leaders without cause and high-profile new order to rebrand the Defense Department as the Department of War. Top administration officials are also preparing a new defense strategy expected to make homeland defense the nation's top concern after several years of China being identified as the top national security risk to the U.S. Excess directive to slash 100 generals and admirals also generated concern among top military leaders. He called then for a minimum 20% cut to the number of 4-star officers on active duty and a corresponding number of generals in the National Guard. There will also be another 10% reduction at least to the total number of generals and admirals across the force. Exeth fired Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz, Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, Lieutenant Admiral Nancy LaCour, Chief of the Navy Reserve, and Rear Admiral Milton Sands, a Navy SEAL officer who oversaw Naval Special Warfare Command. No specific reason was given in either case. The firings were the latest in a wider purge of National Security Agency's top ranks. Since entering office, Trump has fired the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Chief of Naval Operations, the Commandant of the Coast Guard, the Air Force Vice Chief of Staff. The list includes a disproportionate number of women. General David Alvin, the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, announced last month he would step down in November after he was asked to retire. Okay, so basically that's almost every senior commander of the forces, and it's very unusual to fire Special Warfare Command. I honestly do consider this to be physical threat. I think that the Democratic Party is so incompetent that we're actually in danger. If I were the Democrats, I'd be like, nah, you're not firing the generals and admirals without the Democratic Party's consent. We're not funding anything again. Like, what the fuck is this? What is wrong with Chuck Schumer? What the fuck is wrong with them? All right, what else are we talking about today? Trump is prosecuting James Comey. Spain is sending 2 warships to defend the Gaza flotilla. We've got more. We got Ken Klippenstein reporting on the ICE Dallas shooter, and of course, that's just how it goes. He looks to be another nihilistic video game centrist. Oh, and they're also seizing control of TikTok. Guys, it's a Viktor Orban strat. He just said that Dems might be super unpopular, but Republicans are worse off. No, they're not.
Around Democratic member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. We have been talking about the fact that this may be a Jeanine Pirro special where the grand jury looks at this and goes, wait, forget it. Wait, are you kidding me?
Forget it.
We've got the Truth Social post where he's saying, go after these people.
Yes.
Like, this is selective.
Except that's not how grand juries work. Grand juries do not see exculpatory evidence. They only see the evidence that the prosecutors present. Am I going to cover BB's speech? I don't know about that one, folks.
Prosecution. I guess the question is, will this new U.S. attorney dare bring a case that has no future?
Well, I think we have to understand what the underlying...
Why are they saying that? Why are they saying that? That is the dumbest framing I've ever seen. That's the framing you make if you want Democrats to be disarmed. What the fuck are you talking about? You should be saying the opposite, which is this case has no merit, which makes this all the scarier. Why are they acting smug? Why are they acting arrogant? Why are they scoffing? What the fuck's wrong with these people? Time to delete Instagram and Threads. What the actual fuck is this? This user is suspected of being part of a terrorist organization called Antifa. Please report any... Nah, this is fake, right? What? This is fake, right? Yeah, it's fake. Like, what the fuck are you sending this to me for? The poster of the comments are putting it there to make a point. Okay. So you guys fell for... Oh, what? Guys, come on. Lock the fuck in. Lock the fuck in.
My point is here, yes, Donald Trump probably wants his enemies in jail, but what he also wants is to harass his enemies to the point where a lot of people decide to just stand down.
So even if it's tossed out by a grand jury or a judge throws it out, mission accomplished. Just like the New York Times case got thrown out, he's harassed.
Yeah, it's massively expensive to go through this if you're James Comey or Letitia James, and he sees what's happening in the corporate community already. Folks just deciding to sit on the sidelines. A similar thing is happening with Democratic donors. A lot of folks who used to play in politics have decided to just step back because they don't want to be in Trump's crosshairs. So the point here, sure, is to get a few of his political adversaries in jail. But the real point is a tried and true tactic of despots all over the country, all over the world, which is to just harass and intimidate their political opposition so that people decide to stay indoors. Protesters don't show up. Candidates don't run. That's how democracies die.
Yeah, let's talk about local stations being owned by these sort of right-wing conglomerates. We've known Sinclair for a while.
Yeah.
Has been actually ordering at times their anchors to say certain things. I actually knew a few who told me they had to read something and were ordered to read it from Sinclair. And so it suddenly starts sounding, you know, kind of like what Ann Applebaum was warning about a few years ago regarding Hungary. You know, we were talking earlier, George Packer. This isn't Nazi Germany. This isn't Mussolini's Italy. But it certainly sounds like we're moving toward, the president wants us to move towards Orban's Hungary.
Right. So I don't think there's a future where we don't have elections. Right. What happens in Hungary and Turkey and Serbia is that the space for political dissent is just contracted to such an extent that the opposition can never win at a national level. You know, in a place like Turkey, you know, the opposition to Erdogan can win a mayor's race, but they're never going to actually take control of the parliament. And that's what he's trying to engineer here. On the media space, you know, this is an extraordinary moment because at the same time that you're seeing companies like Nexstar and Sinclair try to control political dialogue and take down Trump critics, you're talking about some new massive consolidation happening as well. The problem
is, like, I can look at what's happening and I know exactly how to fix it. And I know exactly what legal authorities I would use, right? Like, I want you to understand that none of this stuff is that hard to deal. We have what's known as the Sherman Antitrust Act. We also have the Judiciary Act, which says that in the Constitution, it says the size of the Supreme Court and the jurisdiction of the cases of the Supreme Court is set by law, meaning a majority of the House, a majority of the Senate, plus the president can control the judiciary. All right, that's what the Constitution says. And so to fix these problems, we need to pack the Supreme Court to prevent any kind of interference with our broader legislative and administrative functions. We need to invoke the Sherman Antitrust Act and break up every single media company. Furthermore, we need to do we need to do a full Truth and Reconciliation Commission and remove every single person who violated their oath of office from the entire government and remove them from positions of power. Now, these are things that they sound extreme, but they're actually not. They're actually not. They're the only way to conserve this country. It's actually the only conservative move left. So we need to play constitutional hardball to the max if you're going to conserve the government of the United States of America. And Democrats, unfortunately, are not even capable of doing moderate change.
Of Paramount, which includes CBS, and the possible purchase by that same company, backed by the Ellison family, good friends of Donald Trump, of CNN. So you have a world in which you may have allies of the president.
Well, and the Murdochs with TikTok.
Running CBS, running CNN, showing already that they're willing to fire people who are critical of Donald Trump. That's a really dangerous space for the country to be in. And again, tried and true tactic. These despots take control of the media space. They reward the folks that run the media companies with big, lavish paydays. And in exchange, criticism is not eliminated, but it is just turned down so that the political opposition really never has a shot to win a major election. So we're not there yet, but that's the direction that we're heading.
What's the remedy to that then, Senator? That sounds like monopolies. That sounds like a very small number of very wealthy Americans who call President Trump a friend, controlling what we see and hear every day. What's the remedy?
So there's two remedies. One remedy is for the people to just show that they won't be silenced. So we've got some very big protests coming up in the middle of October. That'll be an important moment for the people of this country to show that every time that Trump tries to ratchet down free speech, the protests get bigger. But the second remedy is for the Democratic Party to...
I think Dems are so scared that their laws won't work that it will erode institutions, so they'd rather ignore to keep the institutions around in name only. No, see, you're close. Basically, these people are ideologically opposed to using the government to solve problems. Now, you might be hearing me say that and go, wait, Mike, no, that's the Republicans. No, that's the Democrats. The Democrats are more ideologically opposed to using the government to solve problems than the Republicans are. And that's why we're fucked. Because when a Democrat tries to solve a problem, the way they solve it is by doing nudges and tax credits to incentivize private action in the way that they want it to work. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. Because what happens is people just go out there and grift the fucking programs to get as many tax credits as they can and then say, catch me if you can. And guess what? The IRS is underfunded. We don't actually go and make sure that the money is spent wisely, and it just gets sucked out and wasted. If you want the government to do shit, you need to hire people who are responsible for the thing happening and then fire them if they don't do it. And you need to create permanent government action done by the government that the government owns and controls. Can you imagine what the military would look like if we didn't hire anybody into the military and we just hired mercenaries? Like every single one of the jobs in the military was actually just a hired mercenary? How much money, how much like military force do you think we would generate with that strategy? That's the Democratic Party strategy for the rest of the fucking government. That's why it sucks shit. Blackwater is incredibly expensive and incredibly ineffective. So we need a form of government where we stop hiring consultants, we stop doing tax credits, and we set up government agencies with government employees to make government-owned property that does government services by and for the government that the government is directly responsible for. Like, but this, what I'm saying, is anathema to Democrats.
Make clear that if you give us power, we are going to break up these corporate monopolies, and in particular these media monopolies. And I will say, for a long time, the Democratic Party was often just as friendly as the Republican Party was to this consolidation of economic power in the financial services space, the banking space, or in the media space. So if we want to be credible as a critic of Trump's slide to totalitarianism, then we have to explain how we are going to put, local communities back in charge of their news.
Senator, you're obviously on the Foreign Relations Committee. Let's turn you to Ukraine. We heard really different rhetoric from President Trump earlier this week about Ukraine's ability to potentially reclaim the land it has since lost to Russia. There's been some speculation among Europeans, though, and David Sanger has a piece in the Times this morning suggesting that they feel like this is actually, though they're grateful for the words, that this is Trump looking for a way out. That as long as the weapons still can be sold to NATO, that's good, but that it's Trump disengaging the United States, particularly from the peace process.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what he said at the UN, it was very careful, right? He said he thinks Ukraine can win with Europe's help, not with the help of the United States. But I also think his Ukraine policy is just who is in the room last. So what he said, here in New York was helpful and positive for Ukraine. But next week he'll be attacking Zelensky as a corrupt dictator. The real bottom line here is that he hasn't actually done anything to help Ukraine. Ukraine is going to run out of money and weapons at the end of this year. He's refusing to put a new funding package before Congress. There's a sanctions bill that enjoys Republican and Democratic support that would start to ratchet pressure up on Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump alone is blocking that bill from consideration in the United States Senate. So I guess it was good for Ukraine what he said this week, but he'll say something hurtful and harmful next week, and you got to actually put some action where the words aren't. We just haven't seen that.
Did you guys know that the total number of homeowners in America is now on a decline? God, these liberals are actually fucking useless, dude.
It is day 248 of the second Trump administration. And tonight, MSNBC is reporting that former FBI Director Jim Comey, on your screen right there, is expected to be indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia. According to our reporters, if it goes forward, sources believe the Justice Department will accuse Comey of lying to Congress in 2020 about whether he authorized leaks of information. And the 5-year statute of limitations runs out next week. It comes as Trump has renewed pressure on Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate his political rivals, including, of course, the former FBI director. Just this Saturday, Trump said Comey, along with California Senator Adam Schiff and New York Attorney General Letitia James, were, quote, guilty as hell, and that nothing was being done about it. And please remember the top prosecutor, this couldn't be more important, the top prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia was fired and replaced with one of Trump's personal lawyers after he refused to indict New York's Attorney General. Joining me now to discuss is one of the superstar reporters who got this scoop, my dear friend Ken Delaney, an MSNBC and intelligence correspondent. Ken, walk us through this. This is your reporting. What do we need to know? Like, what is he like? Walk us through what they're even accusing him of specifically.
It's not really clear to us because these are facts that have been known for a long time. They've been the subject of Inspector General reports and Senate testimony. What we think they're focusing on is an answer that he gave to Ted Cruz in that September 2020 hearing that you mentioned. The statute of limitations lapses on Tuesday for this, where Cruz asked him about a previous question that had been put to him by Senator Grassley back in 2017 about whether he had authorized the leak of information. And there's a thing that happened during the Crossfire Hurricane matter, during those days when the FBI was investigating Trump and Russia, where his deputy, Andrew McCabe, had talked to the Wall Street Journal about a story, about a criminal investigation of the Clinton Foundation. And Comey said that he didn't authorize that. And Comey testified under oath, no, I didn't authorize that. Now, McCabe has apparently said that he did, but the Inspector General looked into it and found that, in fact, there was no evidence that Comey authorized it and concluded that he didn't. So on this flimsy rod, a perjury charge appears to be being constructed here, and they're going to accuse him of lying to Congress, a few days before the statute of limitation lapses.
Apologies, I didn't mean people. He called for an urgent meeting with hundreds of generals. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and I just said basically my conclusion on that is the Democratic Party should be calling for general strikes on the street. Like I don't know what to say anymore. Like it's pretty clear that for the longest time the Democratic Party has been full of opportunistic goons, and in a period of rising fascism, they're doing what opportunist goons do, which is capitulate to the fascists. They're not going to suddenly gain a backbone when the times are toughest and when it requires the most courage. They refused to show courage when it was about fucking standing up to a donor. You think they're going to stand up to personal threats to their life? This is why vote blue no matter who. This is why rewarding opportunism, rewarding this type of person was a fatal mistake that we made. It was our error. It was our mistake. 5 from 60, 14 from 69. Let's fucking go. I was here when you were a 300 viewer, Andy. Great watching the stream grow. Thank you, Dennis.
And Steph, I gotta say, if you had told me the day after Donald Trump was elected that 8 months into the term, this is where we would be with the criminal justice system and the Justice Department, I would have said, Stephanie, let's not go too far. I mean, come on. I mean, this is really incredible. People need to understand what's going on here. The White House is calling the shots on who gets indicted, essentially. Donald Trump posts on Truth Social to his Attorney General, we need to charge these people. He mentions Comey. He mentions Letitia James. He fires the U.S. attorney, his own appointee, a Republican, who had been resisting and who said, wait a second, there's not enough evidence to file these charges. So he gets rid of that guy and brings in a person with no prosecutorial experience, his former defense lawyer, Lindsey Halligan, to be the new U.S. attorney, and now they're going forward. It's just incredible.
Can you just back that part up just one more second? I want you to underline it. The U.S. attorney that he punted from Virginia was not some Biden holdover, right? Because they love to say, no, this is about politics. It was a Trump appointee.
Absolutely. The man Donald Trump picked to run that office. Now, and he's a former D.C. police officer. He's a really interesting guy. He was a career prosecutor, though. He'd worked in that office, a nonpartisan career prosecutor, but clearly he was a MAGA guy because they picked him. They're vetting all these people. They're not doing this they're not picking closet Democrats to run these U.S. attorneys' offices. But he also is a man of integrity, and he looked at the evidence and said, there's no case here, both on the Tish James matter, we're told, and on this Comey matter. And so they showed him the door. They've unceremonious. And Trump bragged about it. He said, Eric Siebert, actually, the U.S. attorney, he actually resigned under pressure. But Trump then went on social media and said he didn't quit. I fired him. Proudly, he did so. And now they're moving forward with these cases. Now, there's still some question, I think, as to whether the grand juries in these cases will actually go forward with the indictment. We've seen grand juries in other contexts resisting some of the things that Trump prosecutors are trying to do, Steph.
All right, I can't let you go until we talk about the other major story tonight in Dallas. A deadly sniper attack at a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility. What do we know?
Who fucking cares? Stop mixing the reporting on dumb other shit.
In the last 6 months, their most recent...
Like, it's crazy that, and I want to say, I absolutely care about migrants who were detainees who were killed at the shooting. But give me a fucking break with this reporting. Give me a fucking break with this reporting. You don't have anything. Just like the Charlie Kirk shooter, you don't have anything. You just repeat the fucking evil spin from the Republican right. You don't do any coverage. Shut up. If I want to hear the Trump spin, I'll watch the Trump spin. Can you do some investigations? And this is the thing that really disgusts me, is we have millions of migrants that are suffering in this country. We have hundreds of thousands of people being kidnapped off the fucking streets. We have 175 billion given to ICE. And where the fuck are the Democrats? Where are the protests? Why aren't they going out on the streets? Why aren't they calling an emergency? Why aren't they legislating from the states they have blue trifectas in? They're standing around with their thumbs up their ass.
An issue explores big tech's influence over the government. And let's be clear, it's been really big. And David Litt is here, former presidential speechwriter and author of the book, It's Only Drowning, a true story of learning to surf and the pursuit of common ground. David, the president has made absolutely no secret about wanting his Justice Department to go after his political enemies. Your thoughts on this Comey indictment? Because, you know, all these things we could say, like, this is crazy. I can't believe it's happening. The president has said this was going to happen over and over and over.
I think that's an important point, because my first reaction was, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening. But I think what you're saying and getting to is, it's not just what the president wants. We know that what he wants is to reverse the order where he says this person is guilty. We don't know of what yet. We'll find out. We'll figure it out if they don't like Trump. What is remarkable is, yet again, that the Republican Party is letting him do.
65% of Democrats want to abolish ICE. If 65% of the Republicans want to do something, they do it. But 65% of Democrats want to do something, they say, fuck you.
I mean, I'm thinking about Alberto Gonzales, George W. Bush's attorney general. They replaced, what was it, 6 U.S. attorneys, or 8 or 9, some small number, but with loyal Bushies was the phrase. And he had to resign because that was such a big scandal. Trump has now replaced every U.S. attorney with somebody who is loyal to MAGA. And in fact, he replaced his own MAGA attorney with an even more loyal MAGA attorney. And yet Republicans in the Senate, they're not saying anything about it because they're fine with it.
What is Pam Bondi's role here? If the president is making it clear, if he is publicly saying, this is what we're doing, this is who we're going for, this idea of 3 separate but equal branches of government, which is hugely important to the foundation and structure of our country, feels like it's going by the wayside.
Well, this administration said from the beginning, right, that the DOJ serves the president.
And by the way, it's
agency
what Trump
serves the president.
wanted in his first term.
That's right, and it was hard to pull off then. But this idea of the Senate not getting involved is very important. But this is also a thing where this is kind of Trump trying to prove his point, right? Because you look back, he looks at all the prosecutions that he faced as being fake, trumped up charges, political charges. Now there are political charges. And so they can sort of point at those and say, look, you know, like I said, political charges, everybody loves to do them. We're doing them now because they were done to us. This is kind of what, this is a messaging thing as much as it is kind of a actual legal thing, right? But the other part of this really is this thing that this president thinks that the entire government, the executive branch, serves at his pleasure to do what he wants it to do. This is a thing that his people believe, and he has not had anybody tell him otherwise in the U.S. Senate from the people who are in power there.
Why do it this way? Is the president hurting his own retribution agenda by publicly naming the people he wants Pam Bondi to go after?
Well, it certainly doesn't seem like it so far. I mean, he's been able to get away with this for months and months on end.
Well, I mean, he's violating a norm, guys. He's violating a norm. I cannot believe Donald Trump is violating a norm. Here I am 11 years into Donald Trump, the era of Donald Trump, and I can't believe the Republicans are violating a norm again. Guys, they're violating a norm. Did you hear? They're hypocritically violating a norm. Whoa, we got them, guys.
And I think, you know, one thing that stands out to me as someone who is not as close to these types of issues as the two of you is with Trump so often, right, like the chaos is the point. So he can publicly name and publicly shame and point fingers and get on X and post whatever he wants. It's incredibly difficult for the average American to keep up with, okay, this guy's in, this guy's out, this guy's indicted, Comey, what did he do again, right? It all sort of collides together into this giant ball of chaos where what's happening is ultimately despicable. But the average American, I think, has a very difficult time even discerning what Trump is up to here.
And they're exhausted by it. Let's turn to the looming government shutdown, because that is something, right? Whether or not Jim Comey is indicted isn't on people's mind, but a government shutdown can and will be. And I want to share what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said earlier today. Watch this.
And we Democrats definitely want to avert a shutdown. We know how bad it is. And we're asking something very simple, Joe, for the president to sit down and talk with us. You know, he's not the king. He can't just dictate what happens. Ask the Republicans. First, they control the show. They have the presidency, they have the Senate, they have the House. So they're in charge. And God forbid there's a shutdown, which we don't want. American people are going to know they're in charge and say, what the heck?
But who do you think would own a shutdown? Whose messaging looks stronger? Because
I think that if you, like, look at her face. Look at her fucking face. There is absolutely no light of sentience. This is an automaton. This is a golem. This is not a human being that is exercising free will. This is like an automaton. What is that philosophic term for somebody that perfectly resembles a human but isn't? Is it just a golem? A homunculus? Who will own the shutdown? Whose messaging is stronger? They're calling every general and admiral in the fleet and in the army and in the air to Washington, D.C. for some unknown meeting. And we're talking about who's going to own the messaging. They're deploying the military to every U.S. city and developing a fascist fast reaction force. And we're talking about how we could keep the ACA subsidies for private health insurance companies. The Spanish Navy is sailing into a confrontation with Israel. And I don't know if you saw it, but the Colombian president called for an invasion of Israel yesterday, which we're going to get to next. I wanted to give everybody time to wake up so we could all get hyped.
to Katie's point, the messages rarely get to the majority of the American people, but the impact does.
Usually with the shutdown, whoever is deemed the one causing the shutdown is the one that suffers politically, whichever party. And I think in this case, Trump may be snatching defeat from the jaws of victory here. I mean, I was worried as a Democrat.
I don't know what that means.
Are you, chat? I'm going to be canceled. Like, they're actually going to get me. They're committing so much psychic damage to me that they're like reverting me to 2001 Mike. Like, my brain can only take so. It's like CTE, but like from their arguments. Intellectual CTE, where your brain is just bombarded with stupid so much that you're actually losing physical brain cells. I bet you that's a real phenomenon.
Me neither.
Yeah. In other words, I think that what Chuck Schumer and some of the other Democrats were having this public debate of should we shut down the government. Mm-hmm. If you're debating should we shut down the government and then the government shuts down, people will say, well, clearly you decided to shut down the government. But now Trump is not even meeting with Democrats. And so suddenly he's the one who seems that he's being too stubborn, that he's the one saying, I don't care what happens. And you see Schumer saying, all right, I might seize that opportunity. So I'm now losing track, but I would say that was the defeat that Trump may be snatching from the jaws of victory.
You can't be canceled anymore. It's called imprisoned now. No, I mean by you guys. I mean, let's be honest about what it is to be a left-wing creator. It's, 5-10% of your audience is looking for any excuse they can to destroy whatever you've built at any given moment. Which is why people don't grift to the left. All right, let's go on to something based. Let's get excited. Hold on, let me find it. I thought I had it pulled up, but apparently not. There it is. All right, Colombia's president yesterday called for an invasion of Israel, a military intervention in the genocide in Gaza, and he called for a General Assembly resolution. Okay, well, eventually this is gonna work. Eventually this is gonna play. What the? Is this video blocked? What the fuck? Okay, we'll try the United Nations link.
The Assembly And the global and national financial system should be based on decentralized capital. That is the way that humankind can regulate capital, to subordinate capital to life, to regulate it to people. That is the path by which the United Nations will move from an alliance of states to an alliance of cultures and peoples. If we overcome the climate crisis and if we unite as humanity, we will manage to make the United Nations an assembly of peoples which seeks to make sure that every individual is free, making sure that every human being achieves their potential, and because the intelligence of human beings illuminated by science will make it possible to not only save life, but to fulfill the mission of humanity by expanding life into the stars. Humanity that is united can look at the stars and reach the stars. As first and foremost, we need to stop the genocide in Gaza. Thought Judea, when they use the word Astra, it's the time of real death from missiles, but freedom is also real. The heart of human beings and its capacity to rebel and to resist. Thank you very much.
That's not... What the fuck?
Forgetting the white color, which was the color of peace, and as integral part...
Oh, fuck's sake. Jesus fucking Christ, I can't find shit. Lord! Okay, hold on.
All of humanity is made in God's image. They use immigration as a scapegoat to do nothing against the climate crisis, which will put an end to life. They use immigration to get the votes of the whites, and what is necessary is to put an end to the consumption of CO2 and oil.
This is the worst translator. This translator has the worst aura. Do we have a better translator? Like, the level of feeling in his delivery and the translator is just so fucking bad. Like, he's so fucking risless that it's actually driving me insane. Like Hakeem Jeffries would, like, if he was slightly more talented. Like, listen to the feeling. Holy fuck. No, not the... We're gonna die because we cannot get good translators.
Stop drilling and drilling and drilling for oil. We need a different world, a humane world. And first and foremost, we need to stop the genocide, and humanity cannot allow a single day more of this genocide. For the genocidal Netanyahu and his allies in Europe and the United States to continue. The United Nations must uphold the decisions of the International Court of Justice. International law is the basis of civilization and of its wisdom as distilled in history, and it must make sure that the decisions of international justice are implemented, are applied. Diplomacy.
Por eso invito a las naciones del mundo y a sus pueblos sobre todo.
This is why I call the nations of the world to unite armies and weapons. Hold on, we're just gonna eat shit with the UN. I as much as I appreciate the Spanish words, this is an English language stream, so we're just gonna have to tank the terrible translator, that risless translator. This is my last speech as president. It is my no. This genocide cannot be stopped by words alone. Diplomacy has failed. Gaza requires not just words, but action. An assembly vote, a uniting for peace resolution, a force to defend Palestinian lives. Not blue helmets, but a real army of nations refusing genocide. It's time for Bolivar's sword, liberty or death. Not only Gaza and the Caribbean are under attack, humanity itself is threatened by tyranny reborn in Washington and NATO. The UN must stop genocide in Gaza, then move to global decarbonization democratically, rapidly, with no veto power, regulating global finance, subordinating capital to life, form an alliance of states to an alliance of peoples and cultures.
To stop the genocide in Gaza. Humanity cannot allow a single day more of this genocide.
The rislessness of this translator is like making me not even want to listen. The rislessness is so fucking bad. It's crazy. This isn't a translation. I'm gonna perma you. Like, I literally. Jesus fucking Christ.
La barbarie hoy es del planeta, hoy es sobre la humanidad entera. Los misiles sobre 17 jóvenes desarmados en las aguas del Mar Caribe, algunos colombianos. La persecución, aprisionamiento y encadenamiento de millones de migrantes. Los misiles que caen sobre las 70,000 personas en Gaza y los matan.
You have a billion people who speak Spanish and the translator for the UN can't speak. Like, it's like, come on.
La falta de acción sobre la crisis climática, cuyas palabras se borran por orden de Trump, están ligados y obedecen a la misma causa. La migración es una excusa para que una sociedad irracista se crea la raza superior y no mire que sus dirigentes la llevan con toda la humanidad al abismo de su propia existencia.
It's an interpreter, not a translator. Their job is just to be precise for other diplomats of the UN, not to be used for media pieces. I've met a Colombian who has said this guy was caught sleeping with trans men, and now I see why there were rumors like that. The CIA is working real hard. Yeah, of course they are using this shit. What does that mean, trans men? He was sleeping with women, assigned female at birth people, or does he mean he was sleeping with trans women? What the fuck are you talking about? The rumor doesn't even make sense. Are they trying to say he's sleeping with men, or are they sleeping with what are you talking about? Okay, I'm gonna read it. I'm sorry we took so long because I took all the energy out of the... See, like, I understand how hype works in speaking, and that's why I'm frustrated. Stop defending it. You can self-evidently see that it's not good based on your reactions. Like, honestly, we're about to get AI translations. Like honestly. This is not hype, it's in Spanish. It's in fucking Spanish.
Invito a las naciones del mundo.
In fucking Spanish! You don't speak Spanish! Colombian President Gustavo Petro warns of barbarism and racism. Barbarism is of a global concern. It's now affecting all of humanity. The missiles that hit 17 unarmed young men in Caribbean waters. Maybe some of them Colombians. The imprisonment, chaining, and expulsion of migrants. The missiles that fell on over 70,000 people in Gaza, killing them. The lack of action over the climate crisis. Words which are being erased by Trump. It's all linked, and due to one reason. Migration is an excuse for the wealthy. White and racist society that thinks of themselves as the superior race, and for them to look away from where their leaders take them, along with all of humanity, to the abyss of its own extinction. Not the right link, but thanks, guys. 8th time's the charm. And that's why I call on the nations of the world and the peoples to unite armies and weapons. Palestine must be liberated. I call on the armies of Asia and Slavic peoples who defeated Hitler. I call on the Bolivarian armies of Latin America, of Garibaldi, who had an army in Italy, of Martí, of Artagas, of Santa Cruz. Words are no longer enough. It is the hour of Bolivar's sword, freedom or death. It will not only bomb Gaza, not only the Caribbean, but humanity itself, which cries out for freedom. Because Washington and NATO are killing democracy and reviving tyranny and totalitarianism worldwide. We must raise Bolivar's red and black flag of freedom or death, without forgetting the white flag of peace. Peace as hope, so there may be life on earth and in the heart of humanity. The United States no longer teaches democracy. It kills its migrants and its greed. The United States teaches tyranny. The UN must change by stopping the genocide in Gaza. It must act with the strength of an army for the salvation of the world. I should have just... In the future, I'm just going to do that. The moment I see a Rizless translator, I'm just going to read the fucking captions myself. Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. But I want you to understand something, chat. An actual leftist leader from Latin America has called out the United States for what it is, NATO for what it is. So if you see someone going, I'm a leftist, but I like NATO, I want you to remember that speech. I want you to remember what's going on in Gaza today.
Italy is sending a second ship to support a humanitarian flotilla bound for Gaza. Earlier, Spain said it would deploy its navy to support the fleet. Italy's defense minister says the move aims to protect 58 Italian nationals who are part of the mission. It comes a day after some of the vessels were attacked by drones. Activists say 3 ships were damaged.
Quello che io vorrei è che What I would like is for the aid that the flotilla is bringing to Gaza to reach Gaza, and for none of the people or vessels involved to suffer any harm. We are working on this, which is why an Italian ship has gone there as a precaution, which has approached the flotilla. We are negotiating to try and find a way out that will allow us to achieve the best possible result with the arrival of aid in Gaza and, on the other hand, not putting the Italians in any danger.
I don't know exactly what might happen in the coming hours and weeks because of the accusations that the government of Israel is making against those members of the flotilla from 45 countries. I have to tell you that we are concerned. We are going to send a ship to ensure that we can rescue them and they can return them to Spain. I say to Israel, Spain will protect its compatriots diplomatically and politically.
Well, the flotilla is comprised of more than 50 boats from at least 44 countries. It set out late last month from Barcelona, Genoa and Otranto. The journey had included stops in Catania, Syros and Tunis, and it's now continuing across the Mediterranean towards Gaza. Activists also faced drone attacks near Malta and Crete, with explosions reported on several boats. Our correspondent Hassan Massoud is traveling with the Gaza aid flotilla that's anchored off the coast of Crete, and he says morale remains high despite the drone attacks.
After this news of the Italian warship and also the Spanish warship also that will accompany this flotilla, they decided also to use the territorial waters of Greece, especially Crete island behind us, to use it through its path towards Gaza, so they can decrease the expectations for any attack from the Israeli side or from any unknown side. Now we can see together the fleet gathering close to the shores of Crete Island, as we can see now, and they passed the last night after the first threat that they had at night when Alma vessel, and it's one of the biggest vessels in this fleet, Global Sumud Flotilla, witnessed several drones hovering over it directly, and they are carrying only humanitarian aid and medical aid needed for Gaza people. The morale here is still high. They didn't feel that they have to stop this mission even after the attacks that affected several boats, and a lot of boats also were having also maintenance after that attacks, and they are now ready again to continue their sailing towards Gaza.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.
I think the more important step is that, let's be completely honest, chat. This genocide is happening because of our country. It's happening. Oh, fuck. They finally released the Mark Ruffalo interview with Hassan. You know what that means, chat? You know what that means? Hassan interviews Mark Ruffalo. Mike, are Trump's boat bombings in Venezuela setting precedent for Israel to strike the flotilla? One of my favorite memes, chat, in this community, and it's a meme that everyone who hates me also, they hate it, which means it's a perfect meme because it works, which is basically whenever one of the three Hassans, so Mehdi Hassan, Hassan Minhaj, or on Piker, obviously, do anything, right? I put Hassan in my title. And then all the Hassanabi heads, they don't know who's the third Hassan, Hassan Piker. They don't know which Hassan it is, so they rush in here. It works every time. And honestly, so many people have come into my community and joined it because of the Hassan fish, DSA fish, the bait. It's not clickbait. It's just ambiguous. And people get so mad at me for ambiguous titles who hate me because they're like, he's getting Hassan fans to watch him. I hate that guy. And it's like, okay, why do you hate Mike? Mike is a liberal. But you watch Hassan. I'm not saying I'm more left-wing than Hassan, because I think it's cringe to be like, I'm more left-wing than you and you're more left-wing than me. And I'm sure I've said that because I'm cringe. But Hassan and I agree on 95% of the most substantial points. He's more doomer than me. And what else is he? He's a little bit softer on what we should do to conservatives than me. And he's way more willing to like baby people than I am. That's the main difference. But as far as like substantive politics, if you hate me because of my politics, you're not allowed to watch us on. Literally. We have the same fucking politics. Like, you're not allowed to hate me for my politics and then watch us on. We're the same fucking thing. Period. So if you hate me, it's not because of politics. If anything, I'll be honest with you, Hassan is more of a dirtbag leftist than me. Hassan is more comfortable being a little bit edgy than me. To be honest. To be completely honest. Dude, don't care. Play the damn clip. Oh, we're going to play it. We're going to play it later after I cover more shit because it's not late enough in the day yet. Which means instead, we're on React Day. Majority Report. I'm so jealous of the Majority Report now. The Liberal Report, with I've had it, ladies. I've had it, a star, Jennifer Welsh. And let me just say, chat, I consider Jennifer Welsh to be a weather vane of wine mom opinion. And I consider her to be an absolutely vital part of left-wing agitprop. There is a peak of what I'm able to do because my energy is very millennial man. And that's good for a lot of people, but for some people it's very bad, okay? And while her energy is wine mom, and those energies cover different magisteria. They're barely overlapping magisteria. And so the more we can put Jennifer in front of her fellow compatriots, the better the Democratic Party is going to be. We need to replace Rachel Maddow with Jennifer Welsh. Are millennials considered too abrasive or something? Millennial men are.
Interior designer, co-host of the I've Had It podcast, and co-author of Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. Jennifer, we've been meaning to have you on for a while. So thrilled we were able to make this happen.
I don't agree with that. It's funny, but I don't agree. Life is transcendently beautiful.
So much for having me on. You know, I am doing a midlife gap year soon, and I'm moving to New York out of the Bible Belt. And I've raised my kids. The youngest one is at USC. And you and I were texting about my coming on. And I was like, this is perfect because I need friends in New York. So this is our first time meeting, and I'm going to be your new best friend.
I know. Well, I mean, I'm all for it.
I mean, I get it. Like, I would move out of Oklahoma too. Like, I get it. Let's be honest. I get it. She's got the money, you know. I unironically think the biggest reason to live in a very big city is the food. Like, it unironically is the best reason to live in a big city. It's bad food is just so depressing.
And we have to have you on in studio once you officially move in, but I couldn't wait till you got here in October to have you on, especially because I knew Sam would be out today and I wanted a little bit of girl time. I hope that's all right with you.
Yeah, I know about that, Luna.
Green but we can bring you on with him as well, because he seemed a little jealous, honestly, when I told him you would be on today.
I love that. It's always when you're 50 and somebody's jealous they don't get to be with you, you just absorb that energy.
Can you honestly just tell us a little bit about your background? I had meant to ask you about this because I've been seeing, you know, people will say you've got the liberal wine mom thing locked down, and I'm 31. I love wine. I hope to be a mom at one day. So mom one day. I wouldn't take that as something that's like offensive. I think it's actually pretty awesome. So I hope to be a future wine mom. Or do you find that to be a funny way to describe your demographic?
There's two takes on that. The first one is sometimes people refer to us as mom podcasters in a reductive way, and you would never hear anybody refer to Joe Rogan as a dad podcaster.
Right.
I honest to God don't think Joe Rogan is a dad podcaster. I think Joe Rogan is a dude podcaster. Some dads are dudes, but most dudes are not dads.
And so in that regard, fuck them. In the regard that members of the LGBTQ plus or of the Black and brown community are refreshed to see a woman like me who meets the optics that you might think, oh, fuck, where was she on January 6th? And then you hear me advocating for you. And then this my kids told me the phrase mother, like you're so mother. So in that regard, being like a maternal supporter or ally or an aunt or a big sister, I embrace that entirely.
And what do you think about, I guess, some of the reaction in the Democratic base to the way that leadership has responded here? I know you've been really vocally critical of Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, as we have been on this show, but it's almost like they were surprised that your show would have this take, but it's actually reflective of what we're seeing in the base. Like, a majority of Democrats do not want this leadership anymore. And I don't understand why either of our opinions on this would be controversial.
Well, I think that Democratic establishment has a brand of pick-me politics. They want everybody to like them. And when you aspire for everybody to like you, nobody likes you because you're inauthentic and you don't stand for anything. And so right now, what everybody wants to see is people that stand up and fight, that fight against this fascist regime. And when you see the word salad and the moral duplicity coming out of Jeffries, Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer, it's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking because this is a moment where you have to set all of your PAC money aside and you have to get on your big boy pants and stand up and not be a pussy. And when I see these Democratic...
Yes! Stop being a fucking pussy. But here's the thing. Actually be a pussy. Hold on. I need to show you guys this clip. Oh, wait. It's false? She never said that? Oh, no. Betty White Shang Wang said that. Oh, it's such a good quote, though. Hey, you need to grow a pair, bro. Grow a pair, bro. So, if someone calls you weak, they associate it with lack of testicles, which is weird because testicles are the most sensitive things in the world. If you suddenly just grew a pair, you'd be a lot more vulnerable. If you want to be tough, you should lose a pair. If you want to be real tough, you should grow a vagina. Those things can take a pounding.
Establishment candidates puss out. It angers me, but more than anything, it's heartbreaking because their positions, as a woman who lives deeply in a red state, we have had to rely on Democratic leaders from other states to protect us from MAGA and Republicans' worst impulses, which are putting the 10 Commandments in schools, no exceptions to abortions, very horrible education systems, Trump Bibles in schools, et cetera. I could go on. And so you rely on these certain politicians to be uncompromising when it comes to human rights. So when you see them compromise, I mean, it really enrages me / makes me sad at the same time.
What do you think of you get what you voted for?
By the way, chat, this is the most important thing. This is why I love her. In order for the left to succeed in America, we need more polarization, not less. We need Democrats to hate the Republicans at the same level that Republicans hate Democrats. We need Democratic politicians that represent anti-Republicanism to win. Not Democrats going, why can't we all get along? If you hear somebody going out there saying, why can't we all get along? They're an ally of Trump. Donald Trump is not going out there asking for us to get along. So what would that mean? To get along with Trump, you would have to surrender to Trump. So we need Democrats that are going to stand up to Trump. Trump only respects people that are strong enough to stop him. Look at the people. Look at the leaders he's constantly glazing. President Xi, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un. He respects Kim Jong-un because he stands on his own. They have a nuclear weapon. North Korea may be an American enemy, but America can't do shit to them because they got a bomb. Okay? And Donald Trump respects that. What Donald Trump doesn't respect are the people that cooperate with him. People that cooperate with the United States or behold the United States, Donald Trump sees them as vulnerable to be exploited. So if you want to fucking stop Trump, you have to actually stop the Republican Party. So you need a Democratic Party that's going to stand up on its own 2 feet and it's going to beat them. And when they're beaten, when they're losing, that's when Donald Trump will capitulate. That's when the right will compromise. When they see themselves losing, and only then. Asking for somebody to be nice to you when you're being beaten is asking for mercy. We need Democrats that are stop asking for mercy and start beating the Republicans' asses. And if you don't see that, If you don't understand that, you are part of the problem. So anybody who's asking for compromise with Trump is asking to surrender to Trump. They're just asking for him to dictate the terms of their surrender. We need fighters, not surrenderers, not cowards, not cravens.
Thing, because when I think about red states, I think about some of the poorest states in the South. I mean, you're from Mississippi, right?
No, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, I'm so sorry. But I think about other...
I'm not that redneck.
Not that, I apologize. I don't know where I got that from. But I mean, maybe I'm just thinking of Mississippi. Like
Look,
these
my husband's my third cousin, not my first cousin. Emma, okay?
I got it. I'm sorry to let my coastal elitism slip out and blend all these states together. But it is like there are vulnerable communities in those states. They just are gerrymandered out of politics, or they are in areas that are kind of so left behind that they're not considered as a part of kind of our active voting political community. And I don't want to leave those folks behind just because a bunch of, Christian white people in those states decide to vote for Trump.
Well, my response to this is twofold. On the surface, I totally get you get what you voted for, fuck around and find out. As an impulsive reaction when you see what this regime is doing. As a progressive person, once I get past that impulse of being catty and petty, which is fun to be for a few seconds, cooler heads prevail. And then I realize, like, let's take, for example, first and foremost, the Latinos for Trump. That girl had that big salsa rally. I will vote for Donald Trump, and they're woohoo, arriba, arriba. And then her husband and her nephew, ICE, scrape him out the door. She's bawling, crying. She feels betrayed by Donald Trump. And because I'm progressive, I have empathy for her, even though she was a dipshit, even though she didn't.
I have empathy for her because she's a dummy. She's a voter. I don't have any empathy for anybody who ripped her out of her home. Or ripped her family out of her home. I don't have empathy for Stephen Miller. I don't have empathy for Republican politicians. I don't have empathy for ICE agents. I have empathy for victims. But guess what? She shouldn't be trusted to make political statements anymore, huh? And she should be called upon to change. I have empathy for people who are contrite. I have sympathy for people that want to change. I don't have sympathy for people who do evil, suffer the consequences, and then call for more evil to be done.
Watch the signs at the Republican National Convention that said mass deportations now, even though it enrages me that they were so stupid to think that they could align with people that were going to oppress your people, and at some point those knives wouldn't be turned on you. As a progressive person, I still have empathy for them. As it pertains to people in rural America, I have empathy for them because, like, people in Oklahoma, the only thing they have in their rural communities is church. And these MAGA politicians, let's just take our governor Kevin Stitt, who I refer to as Governor Dipshit. Governor Dipshit weaponizes Christianity out in rural Oklahoma, and he Christian signals and he Jesus signals, and he just throws out a few things to say, hey, I'm one of yours. And then he completely rapes and pillages every sense of autonomy or any sort of social safety net they could possibly have. We've gone from 16 years ago, we had a Democratic governor. We were 14th in education. MAGA supermajority policies, we are dead last in education. So I have empathy for those people because they've been lied to and manipulated. The people I have no fucking empathy for are country club white Republicans that played a short-term game. They know Trump's a nut. They know that he's surrounded by a bunch of nuts. And they played this short term, I want my 401k to be great. And I know he's a racist. I know he's a sexist. I know that, these women that are getting raped in certain states can't have access to health care, but I don't give a shit because I'm just a capitalist. When they lose all of their money, I'm not going to feel empathy for them. But the other two, I do feel empathy for.
I totally agree with you. And you mentioned some of the Christo-fascism of this administration. I want to play this clip from Charlie Kirk's memorial, which it was filled with pyrotechnics and speeches by Donald Trump and other.
God, it's just so, I don't know, chat. Maybe this is my Catholicism coming forward, and I'm being a papist right now. But I think of a funeral as a solemn occasion, right? Like I think of a funeral as a place where we mourn together, we weep, we celebrate a person's life. We use it as an opportunity to maybe reconnect with friends and family of the deceased that we had relationships with, but have fallen. You know, sometimes conversations just peter out, relationships peter out. There wasn't any fight. It's just we get consumed in the habits of our day and the rhythms of our day, and some people slip through the cracks, right? I think of a funeral as one of those gathering places for community and sorrow and connecting with other human beings that are also in the same place suffering, and then going and having an amazing wake and enjoying enjoying food together, enjoying that communal space, making pledges and promises to care for those that left or remain, who survived the death. These motherfuckers treat it like a monster truck rally, except instead of there being a 1984 Chevy S10 being crushed by the monster truck, it's fucking Charlie Kirk's casket. It's like, Jesus Christ, like, what is going on? It was so like gaudy. It was so weird.
Political figures, where it seems like everybody's last conversation with Charlie Kirk validated all of their politics prior to this. But Benny Johnson, MAGA influencer, who I don't know if he was responsible for the Grindr outage at the event. I mean, it could have been him. It could have been anybody, honestly, just due to overuse. Here he is speaking, and you can pick up on a lot of what Jennifer is saying here about like the Christian.
Did anybody get a Sniffies screenshot for the Charlie Kirk Memorial? Did anybody get a Sniffies at the Charlie Kirk Memorial? Oh wait, I shouldn't tell the straights about Sniffies. You knowing Sniffies is insane. Why the fuck wouldn't I know it? I'm the ultimate ally. Mike, who told you? I have been a far leftist for well over a decade. And you think there's shit that I don't know about? Casey and I told him about it. I knew you'd try to take credit, Joshua.
Christo-fascist elements of this movement.
The Apostle Paul describes how God establishes the rulers of the nations. In the audience right now, there are...
Let's just say, okay, to explain to you what Sniffies is just a cruising app, whereas Grindr is more of a dating app. If you don't know the difference between the two, I'm not going to explain.
Rulers of our land. Represented right here is the State Department, the Department of War, the Department of Justice, the Chief Exec, our President.
Grindr, Sniffies is like Grindr if God doesn't exist. Well, God doesn't exist, so Grindr is not a dating app. Yes, it is. Yes, it fucking is. You are talking to an individual person. Now, if you decide to make it a hookup, you're still treating that they're going through a dating app process. Okay, like, whereas Sniffies is more about cruising, which is completely different. If it's okay if you don't know the difference between dating and cruising, it's fine. It's fine. I don't want to honestly, I don't feel like autistically explaining it to everybody. You live in fuzzy world, and I don't need to like put it in rigid categories. It's okay. Like you guys like, come on.
Trump from an assassin's bullet for this moment.
Neurotender said Sniffies is what happens when you take all the gooners from Grindr who will lead with aggressive dick/hole pics from message 1. There you go, explained.
And what does the Apostle Paul in Romans say about a godly leadership? He says that rulers wield the sword for the protection of good men and for the terror of evil men. May we pray that our rulers here...
Okay, I think we get the gist. I like how men are both the protagonists and antagonists. Women are just along for the ride. God saved the president, but wanted the
men on men action.
Right, wanted the firefighter to die at the rally, and then I guess also had to sacrifice Charlie Kirk for this moment is the implication from Benny Johnson.
He works in mysterious ways.
I mean, so this is what they do.
My favorite thing about Benny Johnson is what he tweeted this. The advertising on the Military Times right now. The world's largest gay cruise. Get on board. Benny Johnson, like, we watched a clip from Caleb yesterday, or from, not Caleb. Okay, Caleb Huron. Caleb Huron. It was Caleb. Okay. For some reason, I thought I got his name wrong, and I was like, no, fuck, I got his name wrong again. But no, it is Caleb. Okay. There's multiple Calebs. Caleb explained how these guys, we know what they are, okay? Just the dog meme. We know. Why are all the images of this? Okay, Jesus fucking Christ, I can finally find it. Like, you can't even get the original meme anymore. Whenever Benny Johnson speaks, I'm just like, he's like, men and men and men and men, men on men. Evil men will be dominated by good men, and they hold their swords. Yo, bro. Yo.
Leadership. He says that rulers wield the sword for the protection of good men and for the terror of evil men. May we pray that our rulers here.
Okay, I think we get the gist. I like how men are both...
He's trying to get the gist on Sniffies, if you get my point.
The protagonists and antagonists. Women are just along for the ride. God saved the president, but wanted the
men on men action.
Right, wanted the firefighter to die at the rally, and then I guess also had to sacrifice Charlie Kirk for this moment is the implication from Benny Johnson.
He works in mysterious ways.
I mean, so this is what they do. This is what is Christian signaling, Jesus signaling, and this is what, as being an atheist Democrat in a red state my whole life, I see that these politicians do. And when you think about people in rural America, they don't fucking know what's going on in Gaza. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes. They don't care. That is the part of rural America is simply, you get up. My husband's from rural Oklahoma. He's a criminal defense attorney. And he said, you get up, you try to, grind your way through your day. Nobody's making any money. Everybody's broke. Half the people are on meth. And then you watch Wheel of Fortune. And then you say, who can I blame for my shitty life? Fox News serves up who you can blame, who you're going to scapegoat, those immigrants, those trans people, those drag queens, those lesbians. We had a guy who ran for Senate in Oklahoma, and he campaigned in rural Oklahoma that lesbians were a huge problem in eastern Oklahoma, which I would say there is kind of a fine line between cowgirls and lesbians. Sometimes you're kind of like, could go either way. But
right. It gets cold on the plains. The wind howls. You know what I mean? Like, you got to snuggle up inside each other's sleeping bag. Like, it is what it is. No one judges. Windy up there.
They Christian signal, and it works with them because their only form of culture or home or social life is in these churches. And the churches are hell, fire, damnation. You're no good. You need to be saved. And so for me, I was not surprised that Christians clung on to Trump because I've always been at the top of prayer list. Everybody's always been trying to save me my whole life. And they are very primed for this type of cruelty talk. When friends would take me to go get me saved, the preachers sound exactly like Donald Trump. They sound exactly like Benny Johnson. So it's familiar.
I know you've spoken about this a bit with your co-host Pumps about, her upbringing versus yours, her growing up in a more traditional Christian household in the United States. Like, how has your friendship kind of informed that, one? And two, if you could expand on the element about churches only being like the only form of community, because I think that's really important. It's why cities are so scary to, I think, conservatives, is because you interact with all different kinds of people and you're in such close proximity that you have more options to form community. Although I think capitalism largely limits it because we're so
I'd like to discuss possible sponsorships opportunities with you. What's the best way to get in touch? Send your representative to meet me at TwitchCon. If you don't have anybody going to TwitchCon, then you can't afford me. Wait, you'll be at TwitchCon? Why wouldn't I? They roll out the red carpet for me. I haven't had to pay for a TwitchCon ticket in years. I need to tweet that I'm going to TwitchCon, huh? It's the purple carpet. Careful, 8K a month is not a lot. Honestly, I would take their money, but then I would not follow any of their rules that I would get kicked out, because that would be the funniest outcome. You will be the biggest political streamer at TwitchCon. Wait, is Hassan not going? With the current level of violence, he's not going. Interesting. All right, let me think about this. Let me think about it more.
On a razor's edge about our next paycheck or whatever, but like that element, I think, is really important. And this is a very drawn out question, but when I used to go cover Trump rallies, I was going to one Trump rally a week in the lead up to 2020. And it felt like when I went to mega church with my aunt, it was the same vibe. And it is a form of community, a perverse one, but it's because there are no other ones.
Totally. So
people legitimately want to kill him, Mike. So he doesn't want to put streamers or fans in any danger. People think that people don't want to kill me. That's very funny. That's very funny. I'm not anywhere near in the same threat category as Hassan, that's for sure. The reason why I'm pondering is I consider Hassan's decision to be completely valid. I consider Hassan's position to be completely valid. But it also changes my category of threat as well, because it's like I'm not going to be as protected. Also, if Hassan is not there, then I get more of the negative attention because there's no Hassan. So in many ways, Hassan, to the contrary of making people unsafe, I think he makes people safe, because that he almost draws the attention, but he also has the facilities, that he has the security necessary to create a bubble and protect himself, whereas smaller creators don't. So when he's not there because of threats, those threats don't go away. They get transferred to other people who don't have the protection. Mike admits he's using Hassan as a human shield. No, it's just that I think that Twitch recognizes threats against Hassan. I don't think they recognize threats against smaller creators. So I worry about other creators that I know, not necessarily myself, becoming the target. It's like with Ethan Klein, right? Like Ethan Klein targets, his main enemy is Hassan, but the way that he expresses that is his inability to really intimidate Hassan. So he uses people that are associates of Hassan to get Hassan's attention and to attack Hassan from a collateral direction. You see what I mean? Hassan wasn't sued, but Casey Tron was. You get what I mean? So, Frogan was sued. Adams was sued because they don't have as strong as defenses, and they symbolically represent Hassan. It's like Israelis don't want to fight Hamas fighters, so they bomb refugee camps. They don't want to go down in the tunnels and fight corridor to corridor, room to room with Hamas fighters in hardened positions, so they just starve the entire Gaza Strip. It's very Israeli coded.
I had a really unique upbringing. My parents, atheists. I don't know why we were in the buckle of the Bible Belt, but we were. I was born in Dallas, then moved to Oklahoma City when I was in grade school. And my parents traveled all the time, but I grew up around all of these really religious people. And so when I never fit in with them because I was never indoctrinated. You know how today the rapture is supposed to come on Christian Talk? They're talking about it.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if we got raptured just right here on air?
Love it. I mean, two Oklahoma atheists. City would be so tolerable. I want it to happen. But I remember when I was in 8th grade, I was a Brink Bobcat cheerleader, go Bobcats. And everybody that I went to middle school with was like, the rapture's coming, the rapture's coming, the rapture's coming. I tell my mom, she'd go, oh, for God's sakes, Jennifer, that's ridiculous. These Christians are so intellectually stupid. And, the football game came and went, the rapture never came. But it's this cult-like thing, and there's all this pressure to be involved in it. I'm so grateful that I was never indoctrinated in it, because What we have right now is a bunch of people that are suffering the consequences of religious abuse. And my co-host, Pumps, she suffered the consequences of religious abuse. Now, her parents didn't set out to do this. The structures that they were raised in earnestly set her to be raised in the same structures. But if you're told when you're born that you're inherently bad, and I had a boyfriend in high school, Emma, whose dad was a Baptist preacher, and he got grounded for 3 months for beating off when he was 16 years old. Like the shame of that is incredibly
what that does to you.
Abusive. And so then you see Grindr crashing, and you see all of these MAGA people that have all of this child essay stuff on their phones. And I think you have like a mass psychosis of people that are suffering from religious abuse. So when they have things like this, where they can all get together to feel normal, and then the propaganda administration knows, they know exactly what they're doing by using religion in this way. And there's so many people, this is all they know. And I think this is what's so insidious about what Charlie Kirk did.
I think what I really like about her is she has that insight. I'm not a Southerner. And in America, Southern white people are different than Northern white people. I know it sounds fucking crazy to say, but it's true. Southern whites are fucking racist. They are the stereotypes that you see online. And I understand why so many people are so like it's crazy that in Mobile, Alabama, the Democrat lost the election. One of the rising stars of Kamala Harris lost the election a couple days ago in a city that's 51% black. How the fuck is it possible for a Democrat to lose in a city that's 51% black? If you had a city that was 51% black in the North, it would be a 85% Democratic city, at least. That's actually crazy that you could lose. It's like actually crazy. And so the Southern religion, the Southern culture, the Southern racial identity of whiteness, like being white to a Northerner doesn't have that much, like as a personal identity feature, it's much less important to a white Northerner than it is to a white Southerner. White Southerners build their identity around being white, and they do so by, you know, things like reviving Confederate flag heritage. That is really white identity politics. That's why the Republicans do so well in the South, is because we never did Reconstruction. We never destroyed white identity politics in the South. If anything, it is dominant now. I don't know how to fix America without Reconstruction 2.
He knew, and the people.
Look at this shit. White people in New England were 56% for Kamala Harris. If only white people voted, she would have won New England. If only white people voted in the South, 70% for Trump. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. Look at this map. As someone who lives in the South, that the Southern white people during the election got targeted heavily by negative attack ads and false news, so much that I heard some people say Kamala was going to send us to World War III daily. Those same people would support Donald Trump doing World War III. So it's not just about the details of what was said. It is the racial identity of who was saying it. Whites in Minnesota vote like 60-something%. Or I mean, whites in Minnesota are the same. Like, what is that? What was that website that I was just looking at? Where at Vote Hub? Okay, that's what it is. Vote Hub. Let's take a look. I'm on Vote Hub. You're doing it. Minnesota. We're loading. Oh, we're loading slowly. Holy fucking hell. We are loading. We are loading in. Not. Oh, I didn't want to click an individual precinct. I just wanted Minnesota. Okay. How do we wow, that's so interesting. Look at this rural Minnesota spit. How do we like go around? How do we select individual states? How do we select individual states on this website? This is a precinct by precinct map by race. For example, in this precinct, 96% of white people voted for Kamala Harris. Use a search bar at the bottom right. I don't see no search bar. Oh, that's on the left. Who said right? You can't. You're stupid. Okay. So white people in Minnesota were 50.7% for Donald Trump and 49.3% for Kamala Harris. Literally 50-50. I mean, Kamala Harris is such a bad candidate, though. I would love to see the same thing from like 2020. 56 for Donald Trump. Oh, it's so bad. But what are the things you notice in Pennsylvania? Do you notice the blue blotches? You understand? Like, do you get the blue blotches? If you go, anytime people actually live next to each other, they like stop voting for Republicans. I mean, Gettysburg. Oh, wow. This is so bad. Damn, Kamala Harris, you are the worst candidate ever. Holy shit, you suck. God. Anyway, let's go back to watching this.
People that funded him knew that for all of these megachurch people in suburban rural America, they did exactly what their parents told them to do. They prayed at the flagpole. They did Bible study, circle jerks, etc. Circle jerk, pun intended. Pun intended there. Right. Yeah. And so then they go to college, and that's the first time they're free. They're liberated. They can maybe make their own script. And that's what's so dangerous and insidious about what Charlie Kirk did. They intentionally wanted him placed at a time where free thought could be uninterrupted. And he went there to interrupt it in Christian signal. And so, you know, the right always accuses us of virtue signaling, and probably we're guilty of that. And I don't think that's something we should necessarily apologize for. But weaponizing your faith against people who inherently have some questions, like, did Noah really load up all those animals and get on the boat? Like, I had friends that literally believe that. Pumps, my co-host, she told me one time she thought people lived to be 950 years old. And she'd been to law school. Imagine that, been to law school, but was indoctrinated not to critically think, not to ask questions. And that's what's so egregious and horrible about Turning Point's activities, is they're stunting the growth. And then you're going to have more broken, damaged people, because that's the perfect petri dish for MAGA to get all of their supporters.
It is interesting to me, too, how the relationship with Trump also almost mirrors, not to psychoanalyze them too much, but it's kind of fun, mirrors a relationship with almost like an abusive father, where it feels like love, where he's abusing them, and you just take it because there's no, it seems like, healthy emotional reaction or critical thought that could
Emma,
allow you.
I think it's bigger than that. I think it mirrors the relationship with the Old Testament God.
There you go. There you go. Well, I mean, he stands in as Jesus. And you heard Mike Pence. I don't know if you read that interview with him a few years ago, back when he was still vice president. He described how, you know, Trump is this imperfect vessel, but he feels like God is speaking through him, and serving him is like serving God. And I don't know how you get from point A to point B, except for the fact that Trump is like charismatic and omnipresent, charismatic in his own perverse way.
Fear equals respect. That's as Old Testament as it gets. They don't read the Bible. They don't give a fuck what the Bible says. The Bible is nothing but a symbol of tradition. They translate into doing things the way that I want to do. It doesn't mean anything. I have never seen a conservative Christian get quoted a Bible verse and hesitate 1 second. They don't give a fuck. You could be quoting the Gospels that are quoting Jesus Christ according to the Bible, saying that what they're doing is wrong, and they'll ignore it. I mean, actually, there is a phenomenon among Southern evangelicals where they will do a sermon based on Jesus Christ's words according to the Bible, and then afterwards, people will come up to them and say, that liberal shit don't work no more. These people do not believe in the religion of Jesus Christ in any way. It is an empty signifier. It's just, this is the religious tradition we have, and so you must say you comply with it, but what are the details? Whatever I want it to be.
And leading a coalition of religious fundamentalists.
Kamala and the worst candidate. I'm analyzing PA. Kamala is the worst candidate ever. Analyzing the South. Wow, all these whites are racist. There are racist whites everywhere in the USA, and everyone wants their home state to be an exception. I never said that PA didn't have racist in it. I didn't say PA didn't have a racist in it. I was looking at regular voting. I started looking at regular voting to see just how badly she got beat. This is no one. This is all demographics. That's what I said she's a bad candidate, because I was like, God damn. She's losing Greensburg. Like, that's crazy. This used to be like one of the most democratic places in the country. Like, again, I know a lot more about Pennsylvania than you. So when I'm like, holy shit, she was a bad candidate. And I'm looking at, like, when I'm looking at Johnstown, when I'm looking at Greensburg, when I'm looking at, you know, Scranton and shit, and I'm seeing light blue, that's fucking crazy. But yes, white people in the Northeast are less racist than white people in the South. It's not even a debate. Not even a debate.
Yeah, I mean, I was not surprised because when all of my friends were trying to save me when I was in junior high and high school, and I would lie to my mother and say, hey, I'm going to go spend the night with this person, she'd be like, don't go to
the whole South is not a lost cause. That's exactly what I'm saying. Reconstruction is saying they're not a lost cause. It's saying we need to take a more active role in disrupting hateful ideology. We need to be doing more to contain religion that is a scam and is used to spread hate. We need to make a more active cultural effort and societal effort to reconstruct the South. I know it's like, it may even impinge on their freedom, whatever the fuck that means.
that church. Of course, I immediately went to the church because I wanted to fit in with my friends, right? And so I remember this one church I went to in particular. It was called Crossroads Cathedral. And my friend Shonda and her mother drove me there, and they were working class people. My family was more upper middle class. And Shonda's mom worked at UPS, really sweet lady named Debbie. And we pull up to 7-Eleven, and she has a cup in her car full of coins with a $20 bill at the top. And she said, you girls pump the gas and one of you go pay. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go pay. Shonda, you pump the gas. So I grabbed the $20 bill and I'm going to take it into 7-Eleven. She wanted us to put $5 in. She goes, no, Jennifer, that 20 is for the pastor. It's for the church. Count out the coins. And so I was like, well, that's fucked up. But I did as I was told. I counted out the coins. We pull up to Crossroads Cathedral in South Oklahoma City. And right at the same time, this white Rolls Royce pulls up. And this guy gets out, Pastor Schaefer is his name, and he has on a white suit and a white mink coat. His wife gets out, and she has total Tammy Faye vibes, Righteous Gemstone. The big eyelashes, a white mink coat. We go inside, and they start doing all this Bible thumping and talking in tongues and talking about demons and all this fucking crazy shit. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever been around. And here's Debbie, who had a black eye because her husband had roughed her up a few nights before, giving $20.
I love good storytellers. Fuck, this is great. I love Jennifer so much. She's such a queen.
It's total Tammy Faye vibes, Righteous Gemstone. The big eyelashes, a white mink coat. We go inside, and they start doing all this Bible thumping and talking in tongues and talking about demons and all this fucking crazy shit. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever been around. And here's Debbie, who had a black eye because her husband had roughed her up a few nights before, giving $20 to this grifter, this total lying sack of shit, Pastor Schaefer. And so when Trump started doing that, I thought, this is familiar to them. This type of abusive, lying, grifting relationship is familiar, and the cognitive dissonance that it takes to both love your pastor and overlook all of his moral, obvious shortcomings is very familiar to this base. So I think that my perspective, having been raised in the Death Star, I'm not shocked that Christians like him. I know people on the coast were shocked. I was not shocked one bit. He's mean. He traffics in cruelty. Every single church that I went to where my friends tried to get me saved, the same thing. It was the same kind of talking, rambling, whacked out shit that Trump does.
He is a glorified megachurch pastor, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that is fascinating. That really solves a lot of, I think, questions that maybe people have about that relationship because of, all of the things that should be antithetical because of his complete, depravity individually. That all got washed away for that reason. Can we talk a little bit more about Kirk as well? Because I had forgotten, I guess, and this is, my privilege too, but I remembered all of his bigoted statements, towards Black people, towards Palestinians, towards basically anybody, trans people, gay people, what have you. But his anti-Blackness was so acute. And I think, back to what you were talking about earlier, about people being surprised that someone looks like you or even someone that looks like me is speaking honestly about what Kirk's legacy is and what the impact is of the right now. Like, where do you view your responsibility in that? Because our leadership isn't doing it. And
you guys remember during COVID when so many MAGA guys were just dropping dead? And Donald Trump will be like, it's a shame they caught COVID at my rally. Oh, well, bye-bye. Bye-bye, Herman Cain. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Herman Cain.
The idea that we should just throw more marginalized groups under the bus to appease this fascist churn, it is going to gobble us all up. There has to be a firm line here. And I think that there were a lot...
Okay, Emma, I hear you. Who's throwing people under the bus? You were excited for Kamala Harris. You were excited for her to run for governor of California. She just came out and said that we should not allow... She's worried about trans people in sports. And she just said, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Biden should have invited Musk to the White House in 2021. Kamala says Biden's mistake in not inviting Musk to the White House in 2021. Musk was excluded from an event highlighting electric vehicles over his anti-union stance. She said it didn't make sense for the biggest player in the field to not be there. This is the Democratic Party. Let's undermine the United Auto Workers, the most powerful industrial union we've got left, for Elon Musk, a white supremacist from South Africa. And what did I say? I mean, like, I saw this and I tweeted out. I said, it's important to point out that Harris didn't win a single primary in order to become the Democratic Party nominee in 2024. She's not good at this. Her campaign couldn't make it to Iowa in 2020. No one should be listening to her about anything, let alone aligning with Musk. She is a dud. And I think liking her is a sign of emotional immaturity.
A lot of people that were genuinely hurt to see the whitewashing of the things that he said. I mean, Black Americans in this country in particular, I think, because it was so horrific. And then you have the Senate unanimously voting to make a Remembrance Day for him, and just a few dozen Democrats in the House standing up here. But among the base, this is a consensus opinion, basically.
Yeah. So as a white American, I think all of us should aspire to be cookout approved whites. And I think we need to align ourselves with the Black community.
There is no cookout. That's something Black people say to white people when they're patting them on the head in the same way that you would pat a golden retriever for fetching you your slippers. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. There is to a cookout. Not that these cookout approved whites are invited to. That's the whole point. This gives hot sauce Hillary. Yes, exactly.
Way you will your own. And until we have that type of rock solid allyship, you see people make excuses for the racism that exists all the time. And as a white person who grew up in a white suburban world, I hear racism all the time. And you have to stand up and you have to defend your Black and brown brothers and sisters. The whitewashing of his legacy is so abhorrent and hurtful. It hurts me to see it, but it's also a reminder of all of the white racists that I've been around in my life. And I think that what the Democrats have done by voting to honor is just an absolute, total fucking disgrace. I think they should be ashamed of themselves. I think that I do not understand how somebody like Hakeem Jeffries, that is a Black man, can vote to honor.
Because identity doesn't matter as much as people pretend it does, okay? It's not about what identity category someone has. It's what they believe in. It's what they stand for. You're going to find a million people that are willing to sell out whatever identity group they're a part of for money. It always happens. It has always happened. Hell, they'll do it for even less than that. To stop judging people based on their identity categories and start judging them based on what they do and what they say. Like, it's not as hard as people try to pretend. And anytime someone tries to say you can replace an identity category with policies, and that's actually going to be good, they're a grifter. They're a fucking grifter.
A man who trafficked in racist cruelty and made black people less safe and demeaned.
And who is this winning over? I mean, that's the other thing.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Donors,
It's so weird. I just think that our responsibility is to call out what everybody sees with their own eyes and hears with their own ears, saying, saw and you heard Charlie Kirk be a racist and you were correct.
Yeah.
You don't have to spin it. You don't have to revisionist history it. Let people know what you saw is correct. He was a man that profited off of racist. And then what you also saw is correct. Bizarrely, a black man just voted to honor him. It's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. But it shows, I think, the rot right now at the core of the Democratic Party, unfortunately. I mean, the reality is that voters, they're there. The voters are ready. The voters are ready for a transformational candidate. They're ready for a change in leadership. And yet the party's responsiveness has been non-existent, it feels like, especially at the very top. You have a select few. You have AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Zohran Mamdani, who you had on your show, which I'd love for you to give your thoughts on too. And you have governors, like I think Pritzker's done a good job, and Van Hollen in the Senate, and of course Bernie Sanders. But part of what is happening here is that Trump is able to fill vacuums because vacuums are being left purposefully. And all they're trying to do is hang on by their fingernails until the midterms. But the impacts are still going to happen. I mean, the Chuck Schumer is just waiting for an excuse to cave on the government shutdown right now. And I don't understand how you can demonstrate, like, the party is so unpopular. And part of the problem is that people don't think they stand for anything. And so their answer is, let's not stand for anything harder.
I cannot understand it. I have been sitting here trying to understand it. And I think that they're basically beholden to the same corporations that got MAGA elected. And so you have a opposition party that is MAGA light. And I think obviously the AIPAC money plays a huge, huge role in this. And I can always use Cory Booker as a prime example for this. You know, we've had him on our podcast. I liked him. He was feisty. He spoke about, equality, and he spoke up for democracy, blah, blah, blah. Then he did the 25-hour barn burner. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to pee. I'm fighting for democracy.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, Cory. And then he's playing peekaboo photograph with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I'm like, say what? Are you kidding me? So now everything that Cory says, he's not a credible messenger to me. And people say that, oh, the left, you want everybody, you have this purity issue. That's not it. We have a credibility.
Oh my God, chat. I hate AI, but somebody asked an AI to evaluate my 2024 predictions using my tweets. And it's so, oh my God. Here's what it says. Accuracy assessment. Mike's predictions were highly prescient. Overall outcome. Nailed Trump win and 312 electoral vote total. Forecasted landslide with swing state sweeps. Correct on Biden-Harris collapse. Many May warnings when poll shows tied losses that held. 2020 era adjustment spot on. Down ballot predicted 6+ Senate sweeps. Noted no split ticket surge. Hit rate, 98% on states. Stronger than many pros. Blind spots. Optimistic on Harris's progressive appeal early post dropout, but adjusted quickly. Gaza VP picks as key factors did fully materialize as turnout drivers. That's where it says I got wrong. His leftist lens emphasized policy over polls alone, which proved effective. You are an elite company. It's like, this may be the best political analysis in the country. That's actually funny. Thank you, Chad, for sending me that.
We want you to be a credible messenger. You don't have to be pure. If Cory Booker or Hakeem Jeffries right now, because we're so desperate and beggars can't be choosers, if they said, we're fucked up about the AIPAC money.
I was wrong.
We're in the fight of our lives. Please get behind me. We can duke it out later. I would be first in line because MAGA moved Trump far to the right. We can move our leaders further to the left. And we can't just be dismissive of them. But if they continue to dismiss us, then I'm going to go after them. I'm going to walk and chew gum. I'm going to go after Trump. who I call Kanks. I'm going to go after Little Smokey, who, of course, is failed drag queen, Vice President J.D. Vance, Smokey Eye sociopath, which we refer to as Little Smokey. And you can imagine what I mean by that, but the smoky eye and a small
I like
penis.
the visual you're giving right now.
And a small penis. And
thanks for the podcast audience so they know.
We can go after all of these things, but we cannot give these complicit Democrats a pass. We have to go after them as well.
Right. And it's about making the opposition party stronger. That's what it's about. And I think most people are kind of on board with that. It's just that the party apparatus is completely sclerotic right now. Lastly, you mentioned some of your favorite nicknames. I've been using Kanks and in conversations. I've got my mom to listen to your show too, so we'll call him Kanks on the phone with each other. So thanks for giving us something to laugh about.
Yeah.
Kanks, you got a Little Smokey. Who are your other favorite? What's some of your other favorite?
Eric and Don
nicknames?
are Dumb and Dumber. Eric and Don Jr.
Yeah.
Of course, Eric being dumber and Don Jr. being dumb. So Dumb and Dumber.
Really? I would go the other way.
You really would? You think Eric's dumb and Don Jr.'s dumber?
I don't know.
Eric is okay. They're making me into a right winger. They're kind of making me into a right winger, but Eric Trump looks like the best part of him ran down the crack of his mother's ass and ended up a brown stain on the mattress. That's how I would say about. I mean, have you seen Eric Trump? Like, I'm sorry, like Don is obviously. He's like number 4 from Multiplicity. Eric Trump. Let me see if we can get him smiling. Here we go. Yo, come on. He's got more gum than teeth in this smile. Like, what is going on here? He looks like if a Habsburg fucked a gerbil. Come on.
Really tough. Matt's thinking really hard over there.
Usually you would say the blonde is dumber, but I think Eric is smarter than Don Jr.
I think Eric might be, but
Here's the thing about Eric.
Yeah.
You know that Lara Trump, you know that when she's sitting there at Fox News.
Okay, maybe I'm biased toward Don because his girlfriend at the time made me a cameo. Maybe that's why. Maybe I'm biased toward Don, excuse me.
Hey Mike, it's Kimberly Guilfoyle here, and your good friend Elsie gave me a little bit of info, so I know you're a big streamer and you're out there fighting the good fight, battling back against the liberals. I know it is not easy, no easy day indeed, but keep up with the good work. We need patriots like you out there fighting, and if you set up your mic, the best is yet to come.
Fuck, she was cooking us. I did battle back against the liberals.
Eric's balls are just right in her cleavage. I mean, you can almost just feel it. You know that she's just got them all twisted up.
Yeah. I mean, how else would they let a woman with the Trump last name run for higher office? She must just have to be that kind of woman.
Well, it's just amazing to me how easy these MAGA men either emasculate themselves or how easy they are to emasculate. Like, I just don't think we talk enough about, J.D. Vance is a failed drag queen that changed his name 3 times as an adult. And in a normal world, that wouldn't, whatever. But he is a failed drag queen, leader of a party that's anti-drag, banning books.
Yeah.
I just think, from time to time, I always just remind our audience, we need to remember that he tried to be a drag queen and he failed. And then we show the photographs of how terrible he was at doing drag.
No, honestly, and I mean this truly, I believe that Donald Trump would have been happy as an off-Broadway producer. Like, if you could get a time machine and head back to when Donald Trump was hitting 20 and you put the right queer person in his path, he would have just gone a completely different direction. He would be a beloved, suspect, and questionable, famous off-Broadway play producer. He'd be surrounded by cats. He'd be smoking a cigarette out of one of those cigarette holders. He would have some ostentatious black curly-haired wig, probably like me, and he'd be surrounded by his 3 kept men, his 3 kept men, his 35-year-old lovers. And they'd all be crying as he received his Lifetime Achievement Award at the Tonys. He was never actually good enough to win on any of his plays. But it's about that time of his life where they would be like, so many careers were started at Donald Trump's off-Broadway arena. It's legendary. That is Donald Trump's honest-to-God path. I feel like somebody knocked him off course to make him super Hitler. I feel like we're living in the dark timeline where some alien species was like defeated by humanity and, you know, like some fascist aliens, you know, empire was contained by, you know, humanity's Federation of Planets, and they did a time stream attack against humanity to put us into the path of self-destruction. Oh, is my microphone fucked? All right, how about now, chat? I checked all the connections. That wasn't on purpose. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. The aliens, oh shit, they detected me in the time stream explaining what happened. Oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck, oh shit. Wait, it's fucked now? You know, humanity's Federation of Planets, and they did a time stream attack against humanity to put us into the path of self-destruction. All right, what about now, chat? Is it still broken? What the fuck happened? All right, hold on, all right, is this still roboted as fuck or what? Oh, okay, it's fixed out. Okay, who knows what the fuck happened? See, turn it off, turn it back on again. That's all you got to do.
Right, yeah, the match is set off. Camera. Hitler trying to be an artist. Yeah.
Mike Johnson.
Oh, Mike
I call him Moses Mike because he said on camera that, you know, when he was becoming Speaker of the House, that God, he says this, he goes, you know, God woke me up in the middle of the night, and he's like, hey, buddy, I think you're going to be Moses. And I'm just like, the fact that we have the Speaker of the House who claims that God woke him up in the middle of the night, tapped him on the shoulder, and told him he was going to be Moses and part the sea and be the Speaker of the House is fucking crazy. And we also have to talk about the fact that Mike Johnson lives with this evangelical preacher. They're roommates. The evangelical preacher was spotted by neighbors answering the door in his panties one time as Mike got home from work. All right. This evangelical preacher is connected to this guy in Nashville who is a multimillionaire car guy, big Christian guy, who's when his wife divorced him, accused him in the divorce filings of forcing her to watch gay porn. Mike Johnson also has all these pray the gay away conversion camps.
He has an app on his phone where he monitors, him and his son monitor each other to hold them accountable so they're not jacking off, which is normal.
Yeah, so they're not watching.
Okay, first of all, can I just say how disgustingly fucking weird these people are? How they're just complete gremlins? What the fuck are we doing?
Gay porn.
Right.
So Moses Mike is a good one. We call Ron DeSantis Kitten Heels, Governor Kitten Heels, because he always wears a little booster because he's so short.
Yes, he does. I forgot about that.
We call Mark Wayne Mullins, the senator from our state, when he questions people. We're ranked 50th in education, and he says, when was you fired? We call him Booster Box Mullins because he also stands on a booster box when he's at the podium. And they just the nicknames just kind of come to us.
Well, it's great because, go ahead, Matt.
Is there one for Ryan Walters, the superintendent that you guys got over there in Oklahoma? Because I really don't like that guy.
No, we hate him. Here's the thing. Matt.
I love her because, honest to God, chat, she could be an aunt of mine. Like, Jennifer Welsh is like my mom's sister. You know what I mean? I actually have an aunt that's very similar to her. Very, very, very similar to her.
It's so awful to cover local politics. I don't watch it at all. So I only see Ryan Walters, and he's on the local news all the time when he comes on the national news. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. But here's the thing about Ryan Walters. There is a local blogger named The Lost Ogle, and he has these people that are called the Ogle Moles. Somebody sent him, and you can Google it and find the picture. Ryan Walters is sitting on a bench with this guy, and they're touching each other's inner thighs. It's totally gay. I mean, it's just as gay as it gets, right? Which comes as a surprise to no one that he's slapping, tickling when he's not buying Trump Bibles, right? And so
or accidentally screening porn for the people that he works with, which is another story that accidentally screens retro nudie flick for school board members.
Accidentally.
Whoops! This was a glitch. That just happened.
That's amazing. I mean, the fact that you're combating Trump has really fallen off in the nickname game, so you're filling a vacuum here for righteousness. We'll read some IMs because people want have many thoughts and much love for you, Jennifer. Before we let you go, Biden My Time says Jennifer is hilarious. Feels like the fun half came early today. North Dakota Llama says we don't catch Eric.
I don't. Chat. I love the IMs, but I don't need to sit here for them. We love a queen. We love the Majority Report. Honestly, if the Majority Report, that should be the most right-wing anybody is in the Democratic Party. The most right-wing person in the Democratic Party should be Samuel Cedar. All right, chat. It's time for us to watch Hassan interviewing Mark Ruffalo. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this. Hassan interviewing Mark Ruffalo.
Why are you scared of me?
I've seen you like really go hard at people.
That's true. Okay, fine. I'll go hard at you.
No, I was kidding.
You have Hakeem Jeffries. You have Chuck Schumer, all friends of Wall Street, friends of big tech. These guys won't even endorse Mamdani. Are they the leaders the Democratic Party need at this moment?
They are the absolute antithesis of what the Democratic Party needs right now.
Do you think it's the donors?
It's the donor class.
You take Iraq, you take the financial crisis to crash in 2008, and you're creating a toxic brew for a populist to run on as an anti-establishment guy.
100%. And then you kill Bernie. This is absolutely a genocide.
Child killed every hour.
This is a famine, a genocide, ethnic cleansing.
Where people tell you, I would love to speak out like you, Mark,
yes,
but I won't get another role again.
There's that fear. And then I spoke out, and I got attacked in a way that I did not think was possible. If you take the truth and you bury it, put it in a box and bury it in the ground, it can't help but explode one day.
We're like facing fascism.
We are facing fascism, and they're acting like this is just another...
I'm going to write a sternly worded letter.
Sternly worded letter. Ah!
I'm Mehdi Hassan.
And I'm Mark Ruffalo.
And we're not kidding. The Zateo podcast where I get to talk to funny people, artistic people about serious things and funny things, I hope. Mark, welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here, finally.
Finally. You know, I had to go back and check. You know, I interviewed you in October 2020 when I launched my MSNBC show. We were remote, it was pandemic.
Yes.
5 years later, finally got you for a sit down. You and I have talked online, we've texted back and forth late at night about the future of our crazy country. And finally, we got in person here in New York. I appreciate it.
Be here. I'm scared of you.
Why are you scared of me?
Because I've seen you like really go hard at people.
Well, why would I go hard at you?
I don't know. You should go hard at everybody.
That's true. Okay, fine. I'll go hard at you.
No, I was kidding.
No, seriously though, I am restraining every fanboy impulse because you are a lefty, you're a progressive, you are pro-Palestine, and you're an Avenger. So it's like the trifecta for me.
Good.
I'm like, be still my beating heart. Right? Here I am. So I'm not going to be a fanboy. We're gonna talk.
You can fanboy.
Although actually, you've been quite a good fan of ours. You've been
I
a
am
great
a huge
supporter
fan
of Zateo.
of yours.
When we
From
launched
the beginning.
Zateo, you are what I think the kids call a day one fan. Right? When
That's
we launched,
me.
I appreciate you. When we launched,
before you started Zateo, I was a big fan.
no, I appreciate that. But when we launched, it was a big thing for us. It was like 4 of us launched a media company.
Look at you now.
And look at us now. You said I went back and checked. You tweeted us on the day. It was so nice. You said I was hoping for something like this. No more censorship. Journalism at its finest. I think we can agree the censorship's gotten worse since then.
Not for you.
Not indeed.
No. And I think
Well, I mean, Mehdi got fired from his job at MSNBC for talking about Gaza. Now, yeah, he pivoted. He started his own media thing, and because he owns it, he probably makes decent money. And he made a lot of money as an anchor at MSNBC, but, you know, he's been marginalized. He has been marginalized. Let's be completely honest. He was punished for his positions against Israel, period.
People are flocking to. I mean, I think that people are really responding to that. I mean, you've launched this thing. It's a
year and a half. Year and a half.
Yeah.
Less than a year and a half,
I mean, did you ever expect it to do what it's doing?
I'll be honest, no, not where we are now. Thank you everyone at home for watching the podcast, subscribing. Here we are sitting down with Mark Ruffalo, talking about politics, chewing the fat. Before we get to news and heavy stuff, got to talk about Task.
Yeah.
Task is your new show. Mark's in a new show.
Which isn't heavy at all.
It's very light and whimsical.
Right, yeah.
It is very heavy. Right?
Yeah.
It's Brad Inglesby. It's the guy who made Mayor of Easttown,
That's right.
which is a great show with Kate Winslet.
Yeah.
We all watched that show with her hilarious accent. We'll talk about your accent in a moment.
Okay.
But just give us the elevator pitch to people who haven't seen it. What is Task?
It's really a cops and robbers show. It's a basically garbage men hitting drug houses and ripping off drug dealers.
But not you. You are?
No, and I play an FBI agent who's on their tail. And there's
the
these
FBI agent is like, stop robbing the CIA. We got to stop these guys from robbing the CIA.
Parallel stories running throughout this investigation. But also you see two men who are dealing with
Trump,
really just heavy family issues. And loss and blue collar, being a blue collar American and the struggles of that, and how law enforcement sort of comes up against like real human beings and decisions that they
and real
make.
communities
and real communities.
You are fantastic in it. And I'm not just saying that. It is. I was watching you thinking, okay, this is a very different role for Mark that I've seen recently.
Yeah.
You're a cop. You're an FBI agent who was a priest beforehand.
That's right.
I just wonder watching that. Are you a man of faith?
I don't want to.
That sounds like the most cursed motherfucker of all time. That sounds like the most cursed motherfucker of all time.
I ascribe to any particular faith, but it's funny. I was raised in a household that had Catholicism as an Italian American. Then my grandmother, my mother became evangelical Christians.
Okay.
Jimmy Swaggart saved me.
Okay.
Oh my God. There's nothing more pathetic than an Italian evangelical. Oh my God. That is pathetic. Oh my Lord. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
And my father was a Baha'i. And so I had basically almost the entire Middle East in my family, and the conflicts of those religions. Honestly, of all of them, and I was steeped in them. I went to Sunday school. I went to Bible study.
You know your Bible.
Yeah, and I also went to Firesides, which is the Baha'i version of communion, of community, of fellowship. And the one that resonated the most with me and felt the most honest and the least hypocritical were the Baha'is. And that if there's a religion that I relate to, that's probably the one that I relate to the most.
Which was your father's religion, you said?
Which is my father's religion.
You play a priest who's now FBI agent, and this is interesting. So looked at some of your roles.
Okay.
You were a defense attorney in Dark Waters.
Yeah.
You were a reporter in Spotlight. You're a U.S. Marshal in Shutter Island. You're an FBI agent in Now You See Me. You're a detective in Zodiac and Collateral. You like investigating stuff on screen, don't you?
I really do.
You do, don't you? Getting to the bottom of things.
I keep coming back to it. It's funny because we just did a reading of All the President's Men for a fundraiser.
Oh, wow.
And actually, Rami was in it. Rami played Burns.
Oh, fantastic! I can't wait.
It was amazing.
Would we get to see it, or is it like a private thing?
There'll be there'll be a stream of it at some point here. But I remembered seeing that movie as a kid and being like, "This is the most exciting. Would be the most exciting, other than being maybe a soldier or something." As a young person, this would be the most exciting job because you're like unread, dangerous,
and you did Spotlight, which is a true story,
yes.
of course.
Those true stories they're great.
But I love the fact that lefty Mark Ruffalo is defined by being an FBI agent often on screen.
I know.
Also, in Task, it's set like Mayor of Easttown.
I keep thinking, why do they come to me?
They come to you
because I was running from the police as a kid.
All right, do you want to tell us one of those stories?
I was just a ne'er-do-well kid.
A ne'er-do-well. So this is set, the show, in kind of suburban Philadelphia and Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Delco, which has renowned for its particular accents, I think it's fair to say. Was it harder doing the accent for this show or being the Hulk in Avengers?
Doing the accent for this show.
Is accent hard for you? Some actors love it, some struggle.
Yeah, that's probably not my forte. I'll never forget after Poor Things, I sat with an English journalist. He's like, "Where did you get that accent?" That's not. Where'd that come from? You're not doing a very good British accent. And I said, "How do you know he's British?"
You're just taking a shot at something.
Totally.
Oh my God.
But the character's such a
The character's a great character.
He's such a phony, that character. So
I was a fan of yours before you were in the Hulk, but once you became the Hulk, my whole family all became big fans of yours. The way what you brought to that role, I think people have loved it over the years. You've appeared in a lot of movies. I believe you're going to be appearing in the next Spider-Man movie as well. That's what I'm hearing.
I can't confirm or deny it.
Okay, you can't confirm or deny. Well, that's what I'm reading.
They haven't successfully fired Mark yet? Man, Israel's embassy must be burning up. They must be so mad they haven't gotten him out of Marvel yet.
Reading is that the Hulk may be making a comeback in Spider-Man Brand New Day next year. You are a Marvel elder statesman. What is your favorite part about being in Marvel movies, apart from the endless fame and wealth and getting to play a superhero on screen? Apart from all of that, what do you love about being in Marvel movies?
Those are the least favorite parts.
Oh, yeah.
Just having the continuity. You know, as an actor, you're kind of familyless. You're going from one extreme situation to the next. You make these tight knit groups and then you break apart. And rarely ever do you have the kind of continuity that you do.
Over a decade or more.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would have a
Can
real.
I just say that Mark is expressing such emotionally intelligent and thoughtful reflection here? You know what I mean? Like, he immediately goes about just like the connections and how being an actor is so solitary in a fundamental way. You get these intensely passionate groups and then they all dissolve into nothing and you're left on your own. And that is so interesting. And it shows you that he's such a cool guy. He's not beaming about how famous he is or whatever the fuck. He's just got great vibes, dude.
Legit steady job.
This is it. Being an Avenger is your steady job.
It is. It's my steady job.
What do you do for a living? I'm the Hulk.
And not only that, I mean, I also have a very short attention span, and so the other great thing about it is each movie you do is kind of a different universe. It's especially if you're working with different directors, because what I love about Marvel is they really do let the director sort of create a whole nother world. So you go from Avengers to like Thor Ragnarok.
Very different, like a comedy.
Extremely different.
What do you make? I know you've been asked this before, but what do I feel strongly about this? Because people often say to me, like, oh, what do you do to relax and switch off? And I'm like, I watch Marvel movies. I watch Jason Statham movies. I like, and I appreciate them. They have their role, but then there is a kind of snobbery. You know this. You're in films that have been up for awards, and you're in Task, which I'm sure is going to walk away with a lot of awards. Serious, heavy stuff. But then you also do Marvel. Then you have kind of what, you have the Martin Scorseses of this world saying, like, it's not real movies. Like, what is someone like you who does do real movies? What do you say to that?
I don't know. It's acting to me. It's all filmmaking
and storytelling.
It's storytelling.
Yeah.
And I came from the theater, and in the theater, no, you're never plugged into a genre. You're always free in the theater. You could do a comedy one season and then a drama, a melodrama, you could do different styles. You could be doing farce, Moliere, Shakespeare, something modern, gritty. And so there's never that kind of buttonholing that happens. And so I just see it as acting, and storytelling. And I like to do it all. I don't give a shit.
That's the right attitude.
I really don't.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't care. I mean, this is it, man. We got one shot at it. I'm gonna please myself as far as my art goes,
And you look like you're enjoying it, both on set and off.
I'm having the best time, and I love it, and I love the crews. I love the whole culture of it.
And for people watching who are not Marvel fans, second, it is hard to explain to people who are not Marvel fans what it was like sitting in Endgame and watching Cap say the line. Like, you watch those YouTube videos of the crowd going nuts, or when the hammer goes up, like all those moments, or when you turn up in the original Avengers and say, I'm always angry. Like those moments for me are just great moments of entertainment. There's some stuff I will fondly remember in decades to come.
For all of the criticism that we might get from some of the highbrow directors, I have never sat in one of those movies where I've seen people literally screaming, crying, beating their chests. I was in, when I went to see Avengers 2 with my son.
The weakest one.
Yeah. No, Avengers 3. Actually.
Oh, 3. Age of Ultron. Not the best one.
Yeah, no. But it was Endgame.
Yes.
And literally, when that movie ended, I was and I went with my son to just no one knew who I was. I had a hood on. I was just low in my seat. I was with a bunch of these.
Can you imagine if people around you know?
They had no idea.
Sitting in their room.
They had no idea.
Oh,
right?
I would have gone back.
God, that's so. Again, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And at the end of the movie, they jumped. They were on their seats. They're like, start a riot! Start a riot! They flipped out.
You were there with your kid. What do your kids make of? Were they into comics, Marvel? Before?
When they were young, yeah. It was like the greatest thing in the world when they were young. Now,
they were like happy. Like I can imagine my kids rolling their eyes if I told them I just.
Oh my God, I'd love to see you as a superhero. Have you ever thought
I did used to act?
Of course you did.
As a kid in school.
Was that part of your drama? I mean, part of your debate?
Yeah, a little bit.
It is.
It
is.
When I did Hassan Minhaj's show, Hassan's been on this show, sitting where you sat.
Yes.
But when I went on his YouTube show, there you go. You can never wash your butt ever again. When I did his show, he pulled out a Few Good Men script because I write about in my book, talking about how when I was in school, I had to perform the Jack Nicholson scene and the Tom Cruise scene alone. And he made us do it on screen. And people would message me and say, oh, you can act. I was like, I actually went to school with Riz Ahmed, who's also not sat in that seat, but been on this show. Riz and I went to school together. And I always say to Riz, like, you got to go and make superhero movies and do films with Kate Hudson, and I got to cover Donald Trump for a living. That's where I
see there's a lot of crossover happening.
All right.
I'm putting in a good word for you. I'd love to see.
All right.
I would love to see
in that Spider-Man movie.
Have I seen any recent Marvel movies? I saw the last Marvel movie I saw was Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Oh no, I saw Fantastic Four. It was okay. I had a decent time. I saw Fantastic Four. I will say this. When I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I said, I think I'm good for Marvel for a while. I said, I think I'm good. I think I'm over this slop. And it's because it didn't hit for me. It just felt like a Disney. I could see all the like Disney corporate manipulations. You know what I mean? It just felt like a bunch of evil psychology PhDs were sitting in the corner writing it. I could see the gears of the cogs of the capitalist machine. It just did not hit. It didn't feel. It felt like seeing how the hot dog was made. It just did not hit. And so I was just like, I'm good on this for a while. Did I see Superman? Of course I did. Of course I'm going to see the movie where they drop Netanyahu. I mean, the Netanyahu stand-in who's not Netanyahu from the fucking... Like, of course I saw that.
You're not in. Yeah. They're looking for us extra, like a random guy in the back.
No. You need a scene.
I'm your guy.
I'm your guy.
I'll be doing the news saying the aliens have invaded. Look, since we're in Marvel mode, forgive me. I'm going to be fanboy and do a quick rapid fire.
Okay, let's do it.
We're going to do a quick rapid fire.
All right, I'm not very rapid, so.
I'll make you rapid. Remember, you're scared of my interviewing, so I'll make you do it.
Here we go.
All right, here we go. Who wins in a fight between Superman and the Hulk?
Okay, I don't give a shit. We're going to his politics. I don't care about Marvel shit.
Right now, in the real world, we're in a real shit show. Before I get to that, I got to ask, where do your politics come from? Like, you are a very political person. You don't hide it. You're out there on social media. You're at protests. Where does it come from? You mentioned, like, your family, your parents. Does it go back to your childhood? Where does it come from?
Some of it comes from my dad, who was very much a humanitarian kind of. My dad, we had a painting company, and he was a foreman, and he would always side with the union against his own family, and he got in a lot of trouble for that within our family. Honestly, what I took from the religious teachings actually moved me were the idea that we had to fight for the people who had less, and to love our brothers and our neighbors, and the idea that you sacrifice for the greater good. Like, those were all concepts that I learned as a boy that really resonated with me. There were the mystical parts of this ideological, dogmatic, religious teaching. And watching the degradation. I lived on Lake Michigan when I was a kid, and we saw that lake was so polluted that the fish had cancers growing as you saw them swimming. And there was an environmental movement that started at that time. And I saw that lake get cleaned up within 4 or 5 years.
So you thought it could be done?
So I saw it could be done.
I read somewhere that in 2000...
I think most strong leftists experienced victory somewhere in their early few years. They experienced some sort of really pivotal solidaristic moment, and they now have that memory, and it gives them infinite fuel.
2008, you were worried that gas companies were scoping out your land, your family's land in Calico, New York, and that's what led you to become the very famous. People knew you first for kind of anti-fracking.
Yeah, I was living in the gaslands, the sacrificial zone for the American fossil fuel industry, and I went to a meeting with a bunch of people from Dimmock, PA. It was with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., by the way.
Oh, back when he was a good guy.
When he was a good guy. And he was in there talking to these people who had all their medical records in their hands, saying the state has turned its back on us. The federal government's turned its back on us. Our water's poisoned. We have all these diseases and illnesses that we have no way to account for. Our air is poisoned. Do something.
Do you believe in giants?
And he said, well,
I believe whatever AMLO believes.
Know what I can do, but I do think the gas is a very good thing. And then come to find out he was invested in natural gas at the time. So they turned to me. They're like, who are you? What are you? Can you help us? And I went home that night and I was taught, I ran out of there.
Who are you?
And I was like, who are you?
You didn't say I'm the guy from 13 going on 30.
Yes, I'll do the Thriller dance for you. And I did have to say, who am I? Am I really who I say I am? Yeah. Am I going to help my neighbors? Is this that teaching in action? Love thy neighbor, treat them like yourselves. Am I going to help my neighbors, or am I going to fuck off like everyone else who showed up there? And I
stuck around.
I stuck around.
And people know you for your environmental activism well before.
Yeah, that's where it really started.
I remember when I reached out to you for MSNBC, a lot of the thing was about climate at the time.
Yeah.
We were heading into a, re-election then that Trump lost back in the day, and I want to talk to you. I mean, you were so strong on the environment. Back in 2016, you narrated and produced a documentary, Dear President Obama, The Clean Energy Revolution Is Now. I mean, criticizing Obama is proper lefty credentials. Some people tried to whitewash the Obama record. You know that his record wasn't so great in many areas.
No, it was not. Even coming out of the Iraq War, and I have to say, I was a hardcore peace demonstrator. I was anti-war, especially the Iraq War.
You marched. I marched. I marched in the UK. You marched in the US.
I was all over that thing, and to see Obama come in and not hold any of those people accountable. I mean, we're talking war crimes here, solid war crimes. By the way, it's the same
It's
people.
the same people.
who are dragging us, who have continued Gaza, and who have brought us to this place are the same people who were for the Iraq War. We keep giving these same people.
He was going to say assholes. Can you imagine being like, he has so much to lose and he's out there to saying shit. And I have fucking Twitch streamers with 500 concurrent viewers acting like they're the fucking Mona Lisa painter. I need to keep my art going and refusing to talk about Gaza. Like, how fucking pathetic are you? How much of a fucking loser are you, grifting for pennies? Grifting for nothing. It's like Absent Backbone is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Absent Backbone, aka AB, he probably lives paycheck to paycheck. His boss is a multi-millionaire who probably doesn't even pay him six figures, if we're being completely honest. And he's spending all his money. He lives paycheck to paycheck. He bought way too much car. He lives in his $4,500 a month apartment. He's got his $1,200 a month electric bill. And he's trying to keep up with the Joneses. So he spends all his fucking money every month. And eventually when H3 collapses, and we know that Teddy Fresh is on its last legs, he's going to end up with absolutely nothing but a destroyed reputation. If somebody really, really buys you out, like if they give you fuck you money, 5-10 million plus, I could kind of understand being a sellout, because at least you're setting up yourself and your family for generational wealth. But to have to show up every day and pick up Ethan Klein's dog shit, that's a fucking job. You could find someone else to be a peon for, okay? Like, damn, to also sell out your reputation and your morality That's crazy to me.
A chance after the
Obama said, we got to
wrong
look forward, not back. Isn't it funny? He comes in and goes, we've got to look forward, not back. Donald Trump comes in, he's like, I'm going after all my enemies. Like, Republicans know how to go after people. Democrats are always like, let's brush it under the carpet. Let's move on. Let's be friends.
Let's do what's politically expedient.
And easy and not
easier.
painful.
But what we did was we set up our country for absolutely no consequences for actions.
And in fact,
with politicians.
Donald Trump wins because there's no accountability for Iraq. People forget that Iraq plays a role in Donald Trump.
100%.
Donald Trump in 2016, I was recently on the Breakfast Club, I made this point to Charlemagne. Donald Trump in 2016 goes up on a debate stage with a bunch of Republicans and he says to Jeb Bush, well, your brother was there when the Twin Towers came down. Your brother did Iraq. You gave us endless wars in the Middle East. And the crowd are cheering. And I'm sitting at home thinking, Republicans are cheering this? He saw that. He took advantage of that.
He did.
And of course, Hillary, his opponent in the general, was still weighed down by her support for the Iraq war. So Iraq played a role in where we are today.
Oh, absolutely. And
Did I
when
say
they
gays?
will always
God.
be against
Oops.
it.
Thank you, Chad.
It's the same story. Yeah, it's the exact same story.
Typo.
And it's the exact same people. But what the American public knew was that war was completely amoral. After half of them were chomping at the bit to go after anyone, and it just became bloodlust, like we saw happened. And so they lost credibility because the American people had moved on, and the American people knew that Iraq was bullshit. The American people knew it was amoral,
And that they'd been lied to.
and they've been lied to.
You take Iraq, you take the financial crisis to crash in 2008, and you're creating a toxic brew for a populist to run on as an anti-establishment guy.
100%. And then you kill Bernie.
And you kill Bernie.
Then you kill Bernie. You kill any kind of talk of socialism, which is what the antidote to populism is.
Yeah.
It's what FDR knew.
Yes.
Okay. It's how FDR fought it and won. You kill that within the Democratic Party, like we're seeing happen with Mamdani right now, and Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Okay,
Yes.
you kill that language, you kill that possibility, and what does the American people have left but populism? And so where do they go?
What kind of populism is it? That's the thing. Is it right-wing populism?
Yes, the kind of
Like what-
populism that others people,
Yes.
that creates white nationalism, that I mean, it isn't even these people are getting screwed. The mega people, for anyone who's left there, they either are completely like out of it and don't watch the news and aren't paying attention to anything, or they're so ideologically twisted and part of this cult that they've deceived themselves beyond. But I can't see how long that's going.
I think we live in, unfortunately, because of social media, he can create that echo chamber that they stay in. So
And we're in ours.
Epstein files are not released. They're fine with it. Tax cuts to billionaires not fine.
No,
they're
he's
fine
a
with
hero.
it.
He's an FBI informant.
FBI informant, according to Speaker.
Working for the FBI.
That's your next role.
Undercover.
That's your next FBI role.
Undercover to infiltrate the Epstein world and save democracy.
Mark, that's your next role. If Sebastian Stan, if the Winter Soldier can play Donald Trump, Mark Ruffalo can play Donald Trump as an FBI informant.
I already did.
Uncovering the paedophile scandal in this
I did
country.
it in Mickey 17.
The key point, as you're pointing out, is there's this anger. The Trump knows how to channel it. The left could have channeled it through Bernie. They could channel it now through Mamdani.
Yes.
They're choosing not to. Instead, you have Hakeem Jeffries, who Charlemagne calls Apac Shakur. You have Chuck Schumer, all friends of Wall Street, friends of big tech.
God damn it, dude. If we started our own fucking party, if we could just get a left-wing workers' party, and we didn't allow the most annoying rad libs to dominate, that would be the risk. The risk of starting a left-wing party is the most annoying rad libs would come in and they'd be like, okay, let's watch out for microaggressions, everybody. Let's make sure that, that's the risk of starting a new left-wing party, because it would become that. But if we could get a left-wing populist party that was normal and we kept the SJWs, they can be there. They just have to be in their cage. If they were in their SJW cage or their SJW safe space room, that'd be fine. Did you cover Corbett's party imploding? That's exactly what I'm worried about. Is many people think of me as a disagreeable type person, a person who is a gadfly, but I'm not. I'm not bad empanada. I just have standards, but I also know how to build something together and be normal in the right circumstances. I'm just not. I'm going to stand up for my principles, but I know I have a be normal gear. People like Bad and Panada oftentimes agree with me because we're in a time where the establishment needs to be attacked ruthlessly because it's evil. The problem is a lot of those people that join with me are just highly disagreeable types, and they don't know how to cohere and build anything. And so, like, that is the crisis we have. Is like, how do we keep ourselves normal? How do we build something where we cohere around central ideas? And 3, keep the SJWs and rad libs contained so they don't make us, spirit finger and wear masks to everything. That will totally separate us out into a subculture that is completely impenetrable to regular people. How do we demonstrate compassion without allowing the worst excesses of annoying rad liberalism dominate? And that is the kind of like situation we're in. And I worry that AOC is someone who falls into that kind of trap. Whereas Bernie Sanders, in 2016 at least,
these guys won't even endorse Mamdani. Like, are they the leaders the Democratic Party need at this moment?
They are the absolute antithesis of what the Democratic Party needs right now. And I hate to say that, but these guys are on such the wrong route for what we need. We have an antidote to this populist message. We finally have the left's version of how we do this and help people, and we do it for everybody. We don't exclude anybody. Even MAGA, you're welcome to come. We're talking to you. These are your politics. These are your issues that you need to have dealt with, and we hear that, and we're actually going to do it.
Yeah. Young men are flocking to him, which Democrats struggle with.
Yes, I mean, so
he's leading with Jewish voters too, despite all the propaganda.
What is it
that they won't endorse him?
Why? Chuck Schumer.
What do you think about the commitment to gender balance committees or membership? I am in general against hard quotas. I think that it should be a principle to strive for, but at the highest elite level, you should not have a quota. It should be membership based and democratic. And I think one of the risks is once you make hard quotas, it can oftentimes be abused for an ideological minority that doesn't have democratic legitimacy to use those quotas as a wedge. So I'm against hard quotas for senior leadership positions of political parties in general. And I do think it's a good idea for like representation though. Like, I think it's a good idea to try to strive for more gender balance in like a actual national political body. But I'm not as excited in the like party apparatus to have the hard quota, if that makes sense.
Why are you doing this? Hakeem Jeffries.
Merit is fake. No, it isn't. Merit is not fake. Merit is not fake. And and you agree with me. And I'll prove it to you in 3 sentences. You have appendicitis. You have to choose one of 2 surgeons. Me or the board certified surgeon that's removed 500 appendixes. Who do you choose? Appendixi? I don't know how to say it. You all agree that merit exists.
Buddy, even MAGA, you're welcome to come. We're talking to you. These are your politics. These are your...
Merit is not fake, but people often use it as a synonym for white men as having default merit. This is when the phrase meritocracy is a problem. Yeah, that's called racist fucks. Those are racist fucks. And I'm in general, I will say this, I'm in favor of very strong affirmative action initiatives, traditionally marginalized people in like regular positions. I just think that at the very peak of a what amounts to a persuasion organization, you shouldn't handcuff yourself with shit like that. Quotas are for governance. Quotas are for practice. They're not for persuasion-oriented organizations. They don't act like the party doesn't actually exercise power. State people exercise power, and that's where the balance should come in. It should be like, when we're trying to convince people, we should be focused on who's the most convincing.
Issues that you need to have dealt with, and we hear that, and we're actually going to do it.
Yeah. Young men are flocking to him, which Democrats struggle with.
Yes, I mean, so...
He's leading with Jewish voters too, despite all the propaganda.
What is it?
That they won't endorse him.
Why? Chuck Schumer, why are you doing this? Hakeem Jeffries, why are you doing this? You are...
Do you think it's the donors?
It's the donor class.
And their own cowardice?
Once The Democrats became, well, it started with Citizens United. You talk to any politician, they'll tell you they spend 3/4 of their time on the phone. They hate fundraising. They hate it. And they spend all of their time on the phone raising. It's not like us when we give our money. We give our $2,000. We're not calling them every day like, what the hell are you doing? These people throw in their $1 million, $500,000, $100,000 into a pack, and they own that. They got Chuck Schumer's cell phone, okay? They own it.
His flip phone.
Guys, I hope you know this, but Gavin Newsom said he was going to buy a private phone and send it with a private line to every California CEO so they could call him personally. This is real. Burner phones for CEOs. Newsom sends prepaid phones, aka burners, to tech CEOs. He did it this March. You motherfuckers want to vote for this guy? He's creating special lines that only tech CEOs have so they can call him? Recently, 100 leaders of state-headquartered companies received curious package in recent months. A prepaid, inexpensive cell phone, commonly known as a burner, programmed with Newsom's digits and accompanied by notes from the governor himself. Guys, this guy's a fucking fascist Democrat. Don't be confused who your enemy is.
The leader of the Democrats doesn't have a smartphone.
I think the world's just left that behind. You know, Chuck is a sweet guy, and I've known him for a long time, and he's done good things.
But it's time for him to go.
But they're not up to the moment.
They're not up to the moment.
We are facing fascism, and they're acting like this is just another.
I gotta write a sternly worded letter.
Sternly worded letter.
Yeah, they need the Hulk. They need the fucking Hulk.
They need something.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And AIPAC.
Forget the Hulk. Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner would do a better job.
Listen to Bruce.
Even mild-mannered Bruce would be a tougher.
I saw Richie Torres on Adam.
Adam Friedland.
Friedland.
Yeah.
Adam Friedland. I love this kid. I watched him on there, and I'm watching a guy who, like, I know he has a core. Like, I know he suffered. I know he came up. But what happens to you is you get bought little by little, especially when you come up from nothing. You really appreciate the people who help you. You're taught that as an ethos.
You feel you can't break with them.
Yes, you internalize their narrative because they were there when no one else was.
Yeah. Even if that means you end up apologizing for the killing and maiming of children.
Yes. Even if that means you apologize for the killing and maiming.
You sound like a sociopath.
It is so hard to keep your moral integrity once you start taking the money. Once you make those little fudges, the distance it takes for you to return back to your moral center is quadruple the distance you walked away from it. I just think it becomes very, very hard.
And we're seeing it in real time.
We're seeing it in real time. We need people to be grounded in their moral integrity right now, because that's where credibility is.
And history will judge us.
History is judging. History is judging us.
Is judging us. So let me ask you this. It's not just politicians. It's people in your industry. It's celebrities. It's people in public life. It's people in big law. It's people in big tech. It's artists. Everyone is being held to account right now, being asked, where are you? I mean, Miss Rachel, who's also sat in that seat when I interviewed her, wonderful. She's been very outspoken in saying, we're going to remember who was silent.
Where are you?
And I think that's going to be a big question for a lot of people. Before we get to those people, again, just a background question for you. A lot of people watch. I've interviewed before. We've talked about Gaza before, you and I. For people who don't know your own journey, you're not someone who woke up on October the 8th and said, what's this Middle East issue? I need to research and find out where to stand. You've been involved in this struggle for a while. How did you get involved in Palestine activism, support for the Palestinian struggle?
It probably started around the Iraq War. And I started to ask myself, like, what is happening in that region? You know, and who is, what's creating this tension? And then I just started to think of this issue. What is going on in Palestine? What is that story? What's really going on? I mean, these people, to have so strong a resistance, you have to have an oppressive force to have that kind of resistance. And that's an honest measure. And I wanted to know what that was. And so I started to listen, started to read, started to listen, started to talk to people. Started to break down this system of ignorance that is constantly being reinforced. I don't know. I've never seen such a propaganda machine that has been so delicately manufactured, that has made people so ignorant. And I was one of those people.
So you're researching this. You're talking to people. There are lights going off. You're like, what the hell? Why was I never told this?
Yes, it's a lot of it is just, I just was feeling that these people had this sweetness and this.
Who's our dumbass?
Integrity and this righteousness that was undeniable and transcended ideology. It was real, you know?
Wait, who's the dumbass? Okay. Do we have it as Barbot? Okay, hold on. We got to pause it, chat. We finally get one. It's rare when somebody actually will say anything. Account created November 16th, 2023. Interesting. A month after Israel started their genocide in Gaza, you created your account. Interesting. Okay. Mark Buffalo engaged in premarital sex for motion picture poor girls. It's haram. This is the most Israeli. Are you Israeli? Are you Israeli? You type like an Israeli. Come on. Just say yes. I'm Albanian. Okay. No, you're not. Let's keep going.
It came from something real. And then, of course, I started to see the asymmetrical just crushing of any kind of movement, but you know, and then it was escalating, starting in 2014, and then I spoke out on social media, and I got attacked in a way that I did not think was possible, and was being called an anti-Semite, was being stopped on the street from Israeli women, asking me with their phone in my face, "Why are you an anti-Semite?"
What do you do in that situation?
I said, "Why do you say I'm an anti-Semite? Why do you say I'm an anti-Semite? Because you're supporting the Palestinians." I was like, "Well, I'm an anti-Semite because I'm supporting the Palestinians. I should support the Israeli people too. I'm a humanist. Okay, what's happening there is inhumane, and that's it. So if you think that's anti-Semitic, I find it incredibly. My teacher, Stella Adler, was a hardcore Jewish woman from Odessa, okay? That's where I learned my art form, okay? It's that Talmudic approach to life that makes me say this is wrong.
Yeah.
But to be called an anti after what
we career ending, especially in
what we learned growing up about the Holocaust, that genocide, what we all know, to be so ugly, right?
Yeah.
It's the worst thing to be called.
Especially in Hollywood.
Anywhere.
No, but in Hollywood, it's career ending. We've seen what's happened to Melissa Barrera.
Career ending.
Well, for some people.
Yeah, for some people it is.
And some people, I mean, I spoke to John Legend about this.
Yeah.
And I said, look, aren't you worried about being cancelled? Like, people are worried. People are worried about being, and he goes, look, I'm in a position, luckily, where I don't need to worry about that. But a lot of people, he said, tell him that they are. They keep quiet.
Yes,
do you have that issue? Where people tell you, I would love to speak out like you, Mark, but I won't get another role again.
Yes, there's that fear. It's dropping now, and I'm seeing more and more people speaking out.
Just to remind everyone at home, you just signed a letter, 1,300 people,
That's right.
Film Workers for Palestine.
That's right.
Which is saying, we will not allow our work and our art to be used as in any kind of
whitewash,
complicity.
to be complicit, to whitewash apartheid, or to profit off apartheid or genocide.
And Emma Stone and Ava DuVernay, Olivia Colman, some big names in there.
Yes, very big names.
That list probably wouldn't have been that long a few years ago. It's getting bigger.
No way. They've been trying to do this for 20 years. You know, this is not new.
You got pressure in 2021. I remember this because you and I were talking at the time. That people forget Israel bombed Gaza in 2021. It was a much briefer issue. And you said the G word back then. Genocide.
Yes.
People went nuts.
They went nuts.
And you came out and apologized and said the language was not right. Today, I assume you don't recall from the G word.
Not at all. This is absolutely a genocide. We have
the consensus
of the majority of scholars.
Yeah. Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, all of them.
B'Tselem.
Yep.
B'Tselem within Israel.
Genocide.
Probably, yes, genocide.
But people still throw the anti-Semitic label around, even now, just to completely empty it all meaning.
It's the Hasbara. It's part of that system of oppressing thought, oppressing free speech, oppressing the need to know, oppressing knowledge.
I want to just say that I really appreciate Mark Ruffalo for being so outspoken with the position that he has. And I could see that he's a person who tries to lead with compassion. We need more guys like Mark should run for office, man. Quit this Hulk shit.
That is a system that's been developed by Israel. And not just Israel, but enablers. And I understand why. I understand why. I mean,
I'm surprised he hasn't been on Hassan's show. He hasn't been on Hassanabi's show yet, has he? How the fuck has that not happened? Your title says otherwise. He's on Hassan's show right now, Mehdi Hassan. He's just not on Hassanabi's show. I never clickbait. I always tell the truth. Now, if you misinterpret something, that's your own fucking fault.
I understand this need after coming out of the Holocaust to protect yourself, you know? I understand it, okay? But you can't steal.
Clickbait is when the title has absolutely nothing to do with the content and it's intentionally done. That's clickbaiting. If you are ambiguous and someone clicks, that's called good titling. That's just good titling.
Another people's nation from that.
Unless you have great propaganda like a land without a people for people without a land.
And expect that to go well. That's like planting a seed of hatred and deceit and expecting it to flower oranges.
It's not gonna happen.
It's just not gonna happen. And what's that Zola quote? If you take the truth and you bury it, put it in a box and bury it in the ground, it can't help but explode.
It can't help but explode. You do injustice, injustice boomerangs. Not because of some grand arc of the universe that bends, but the oppressed throw it back.
It's exploding.
Do you feel hopeful? I mean, people are dying in huge numbers. It's horrific.
How do you feel hopeful?
But that's my question to you.
I'm not feeling hopeful. It's heartbreaking, man. And why people have signed that thing now. Someone called me yesterday. He's like, did you see that the Israelis' response to this and how it's going to hurt and how filmmaking should transcend this? I was like, 100%, man. But we are in drastic time. This is a genocide, okay?
Child killed
this
every
is
hour.
A famine, a genocide, ethnic cleansing, human immigration. I mean, they're pushing people off their land. This is do or die now, and we might have to take drastic measures. This is not a drastic measure. All we're saying, we're still allowed to work with anyone we want to. You know, all we're saying is the institutions and the people and the production companies that are actually profiting from this and who are whitewashing it and propagating it, we will not work with. And that's the least. But you know what I really hope it does, Mehdi? I hope it opens up other industries to the same exact thing. Boycott, divest, sanction, and prosecute. That's the only thing that's going to stop this. We have to hit them economically because we've tried everything else. All those Israeli filmmakers that they're talking about who have told good stories, who have tried to tell the Palestinian experience, what has it done?
Yeah. One thing that bothers me is everything has to be done in tribal ways. It's like you're pro this, you're pro that, you're this team, you're that team. As Miss Rachel has said, why can't you just care about kids being killed?
That's
like,
if we took care of the kids, not just there, but everywhere, if we focused on what their needs were and we met those needs, the world would be a fucking heaven. It would be heavenly.
Just that baseline.
Just that baseline. But look what we're doing here in the United States. We're letting the kids get mowed down because of some crazy idea that we need weapons of war. To what? What are you going to do? You're going to fight the American government?
I know, it's insane.
What are you going to do? Like how? What are you going to do with your weapons of war? You're going to kill other Americans is what you're going to do.
Is what's happening.
I met with some of the people whose families were killed on October 7th.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, in Israel. Okay.
My heart breaks for those kids to live through that, okay? I've always felt this way. But it's asymmetrical, you know? Like how many thousands of people have to die in order to have retribution for that, you know? And it is retribution.
That sounds like something Disney made him do. That sounds like something Disney made him do. Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Like, he met with families on October 7th? That sounds like something Disney made him do.
Because their own leaders.
You were not familiar with Mark's game? Oh, you don't know the goats. People don't know the goats. Mark Ruffalo is a goat.
Think about it in the terms of retribution. The quote, you know what's a quaint idea is eye for an eye. That's quaint. Eye for an eye. I wish it was eye for an eye.
It's 50,000.
I mean, he's always been a goat.
I love the Democratic brand. I think they're offering ideas and solutions.
Oh, God. Mark! No, Mark, no!
And fighting for the everyday people in America. And so any one of them would be a blessing to our nation. And of course, you know, I go way back with Bernie Sanders. And I still love the guy and I love what he's doing. And so, but I'm so proud of him.
Okay. This is, oh, Jesus Christ. Mark, stop being a lib.
Pay close attention to politics. Of the 2020 candidates who are running right now, who do you like? Who do you think has the right position here?
Well, first of all, I want to preface this by saying I'm very excited by the Democratic and altogether.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Mark.
For me, I started with Bernie on this trip, and
in 16 too. You started with
in 2016. Yeah. And when I think about it, what I see is he led, and he led then, and now he's leading now. And he's the one.
He's been consistent
his whole life.
His whole career.
He's never been another. He was never another party. He was never had different views about these things. The rest of the United States has just finally caught up to what this cat's been doing already for his entire career. And you know that when he gets into office, he is going to be fighting for us.
Okay.
Honestly, again, this was 5 years ago, chat. So he has always been on the right side of the fights that we were having. So it doesn't surprise me whatsoever that he's on the fight for the Gazan people, calling it a genocide. And he has gotten even smarter since then. Many of us have gotten smarter. You know, I feel like a lot of people in 2020, they were like, we just got to get Trump out of office. And you could see in the speech what he said today about the Democratic Party leadership being dog shit. He's one of us. He experienced a lot of the changes that I'm sure many of you experienced. But he's been fighting for a long time for what's right. That's what I like about him.
I mean, that's a naive eye for an eye.
Yeah.
That's a naive. But
I guess that's what happens
notion.
when you devalue Palestinian life. It doesn't matter.
They've been who are we even hearing from in Palestine? Yeah. When you turn on the television, you hear the Palestinians speaking on their own behalf. I mean, here you and I are talking about them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, when I was at MSNBC, I went out on my way to platform Palestinian Voices, but most hosts don't.
They don't.
Most hosts go, let's just get the IDF spokesman on. Like, and the studies have been done. The Sunday shows are filled with Israeli guests, Israeli military officials, members of Congress, no Palestinian voices on our Sunday morning shows.
It's a travesty.
So that then leads me to a question that might make you uncomfortable, but I'm going to ask it anyways. One of the Sunday shows is owned by ABC. Disney's owned by ABC. You do shows for Disney. Have you had pressure from on high to, Mark, shut the fuck up about this. Just keep your head down.
Never.
You promote Avengers, don't talk about Gaza.
Never.
No one's come to you.
Never. I've had other people's on smaller ways.
Yeah, like people in the industry say, hey, it's good for your career if you shut up.
Yeah, or you don't know what you're talking about. Palestine, it was never Palestine. The Palestinian people aren't a people. Here's a tweet of a book from the 1500s that shows that Palestine never existed in this map. The thing looks like someone made it in a copy machine. I mean,
have you lost friends?
Craziest. I'm telling you, the people who who've been friends of mine.
That's what I was going to ask.
I can't talk to them anymore.
They're
either trying to convince me that the Palestinian people are all terrorists and they all deserve to die. In the same breath, will tell me that they're actually human shields and they deserve to die because they're human shields. Okay?
These are people.
Chat. The Israel supporters are they're in a Zionist genocidal mania. They're crazy. They're cuckoo. They have to be put under the custodianship of the rest of the world. They're fucking lost it.
Well, who were friends of yours pre-October 7th? People
who I thought were friends of mine.
And they're not anymore.
I can't relate to them.
What a goddamn fucking king. What a fucking king he is. He's so goated.
I can't relate to them. And I have people who, after October 7th, I understand why Jewish people that was so upsetting. I get it, you know, and I understand that they feel that there has to be security. Mostly they don't consider the Palestinians or their story. They don't know much about it. I love these people. And at this point, we don't even talk about it anymore.
What do you make of, so we have people, I'm sure in Hollywood, just like I have people in my industry and my community and friends, the people who are defending this genocide still, which is insane. You can't be friends with such people at this point. Then you have people like you who are speaking out, signing letters. What about most of the people who are in the middle? What about your friends and colleagues who you do movies with who just say nothing? How do you try and educate them? Do you proactively, is Mark Ruffalo like on set be like, hey guys, I'm doing this letter, do you want to sign? Or do you just be like, that guy, he's that political?
I've tried in other ways to kind of platform people because, you know, some people just, a lot of actors just aren't political.
Yes.
As their kind of ethos.
Although a lot are political on a lot of issues, just not this one.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of them feel pressured. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. And it's not just the industry, it's family members, it's friends. It's taken people a long time to get where we are here today. They know now. There's no denying what's happening. Unless you are so ideologically tied up. So I'm seeing people who were much more militantly for this starting to soften.
Yeah.
Because how do you not? I mean, how do you
defend the famine?
How do you not?
Yeah.
And how can you say that so many people are lying? Like, how big of a conspiracy would it have to be for 80, 90% of the world?
Yeah. All the human rights groups.
All the human rights groups.
My favorite one is Cindy McCain. Like, John McCain's widow is Hamas.
How insane do you have to be to actually believe that?
I did an event in Toronto last year, Mark, where I did a debate on anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. And when I mentioned Oxfam, the crowd booed. The pro-Israel people booed Oxfam. And that's where you get to. We're almost out of time. I've got to ask, quick question. Kamala Harris is on a rehabilitation tour. She's got a memoir coming out. She's got Extract in the Atlantic, talking about
All right, Mark, don't slip up on the last hurdle. Come on, Mark. Bring it home. Bring it home, Mark. Don't fuck up. Come on. Don't mess up. Come on. You got it, Mark. Stick the landing.
How Biden wouldn't let her, create daylight. Do you believe that the Gaza issue cost Harris and the Democrats the election last year, or played a role?
I was in Michigan as a surrogate, speaking to the Arab communities because they thought, oh, well, Mark will be able to speak.
Yeah.
Let's throw Mark Ruffalo in there. They were not having it. They just weren't having it. Now, it's sad because some of the thinking was it can't get any worse.
Yeah,
and
it has. Yeah.
It has.
But some of the thinking was just, I cannot bring myself to vote for someone who
my family was wiped out.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of Democrats don't understand.
Tell me how I'm supposed to vote for this. And I'm one day we'll get into it, but I was speaking to the NSC. I had a group of actors. We were interfacing with the NSC for months and months and months. And the line of
That's the National Security Council, chat. So what Mark is saying is he had a group of prominent Democratic supporters and donors who are actors who were yelling at the White House directly, telling them what they're doing is dangerous and wrong and politically suicidal. So they were not confused. They got all the warnings. Why did I ever doubt Mark? You're such a fucking king.
Bullshit that we were fed. I have all of the emails.
Feel free to publish them.
The line of bullshit, and that was coming from Blinken and Miller and Jake Sullivan. Those guys are now on this rehabilitation tour, and they are war criminals. Those guys, they designed this. They created whatever structure Trump is.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Holy fuck, he's so based. Even better than I thought. Give him the gold.
Is using now. They created it.
Before we go, 5 years ago, you and I were talking on the eve of the 2020 election, and I asked you about the Trump presidency, and you said, I remember we were live on air, and you said, I wouldn't fucking believe it if somebody gave you a script and you kind of threw it behind you. It went viral that moment, I remember. Because you and I were talking about how unbelievable it was. And again, can't get any more unbelievable. Since we did that interview, Donald Trump incited an insurrection, lost the election, went into private life, was supposedly finished, got prosecuted, got found liable for sexual abuse in a civil trial in New York. and then came back and became president again, and now is doing all this shit again. Again, if somebody gave same question, if somebody put the script in front of you now saying this is what's happened, this is the movie,
I'd quit
this is
the
the
business. I'd be like, worst song. This business is so
unrealistic.
It's so unrealistic now. But it's beyond fiction now. It's beyond fiction. And we don't know where it's, you know what though? I believe with every difficulty, there's a gift inherent. And with every action, there's a reaction to equal reaction. Just like we came out of last Trump and we had probably one of the most progressive presidents. I mean, you know,
on domestic terms.
Yes, on domestic terms, Biden was probably one of the most, since FDR probably. He didn't do a good job of communicating that. None of them did. They ran away from their progressive credentials, you know. They did some fucked up shit on climate, you know. But that's in the offing. If we can save our democracy, we will have a revitalization, reimagination of democracy, and we're seeing it happening with all these these candidates coming up who are connecting to people.
The Mamdani's, not the Jeffries. Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure. Let our viewers, listeners know where they can catch Task.
Task is on HBO right now, HBO Max, and we're putting out a new episode every week. So if you want to really have a show that has a pulse and to make your heart sing and you make your heart cry, check us out.
I love Mark because he's truly one of the last remaining stars. He does his dumb shit, Marvel shit, and then he goes out and makes passion projects about stuff he cares about. And then he spends the rest of his time in political activism fighting for everybody who's marginalized. This guy is living the fucking dream, dude. I love Mark Ruffalo so much. I may not agree with him on every detail of politics, but like, he's just a really cool dude.
No, who is the antagonist? Who is the other brilliant actor?
Tom Pelphrey.
Amazing actor. Amazing.
He's the best thing in the show.
He
really is.
He is a fantastic
He's
actor.
the best thing in the show.
Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure. We must not leave a 5-year gap before the next interview.
We won't. Now that we've done it.
Now that you see that I don't grill you.
I've been scared.
You've been scared. My reputation.
You haven't seen me. No. I just haven't been on. I haven't been doing a lot of political.
Well, your voice is absolutely essential, and we appreciate your voice. I've always loved your voice, both as a fan and a friend, and I appreciate you coming and supporting us and watching We're Not Kidding. Make sure you subscribe to We're Not Kidding wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you head over to zeteo.com, become a subscriber, like Mark is a subscriber, support independent journalism in this fascistic moment where the mainstream media are letting us down. But for now, from me...
He says he enjoys the Marvel stuff. No, I'm not saying it's bad. I like dumb shit. I like big dumb shit. Honestly, Mark, thank you for being so good, dude. That was such a good vibe. It's such a good vibe, man. Like, Mark is one of those people that always puts a smile on my face.
Eddie Hassan.
And I'm Mark Ruffalo.
And we were not kidding.
Not at all.
We're Not Kidding is a Zeteo production.
Oh man, that was great. That was honestly, he stuck the landing. He seems like he's learning. He's learning that the Democratic Party establishment is just as much of a part of the problem, if not worse, than the Republicans. Like Mark and I, like he's converging to my politics. This is what's crazy. It's like more and more people are coming to the Mike from PA way of thinking. Even if I am not the one who changed their mind, which I'm not, more and more people are just falling into the same patterns and practices as I am. And it's super exciting for me. It doesn't have to be about aggrandizing me. It's more about like, yes, we're going to actually win. We're getting there. Like, I don't know. He said socialism is the antidote to right populism. Exactly, because it fucking is. Now, he may not be like the biggest theory guy, right? He may not be the biggest theory guy, but he understands this shit intuitively from talking to people and being out on the streets and being a humanitarian and having a basic moral compass. Which is why if you want to see this type of stuff succeed, you've got to support the stream. Remember, chat, it is September. That means right now you have the opportunity to support an independent media and commentary program like the Central Committee, the most accurate 2024 election prognosticator was the Mike from PA stream. The most politically accurate prognosticator, Mike from PA, Mike the ball knower. So if you enjoy this content, please consider supporting it because it's the only way it will subscribe because I don't have ads. Political streamers do not have ads anymore because of harassment by Zionism. Literally, we lost our ads on political content because of Zionist harassment. And I want you to understand that's exactly why you need to support the stream by subscribing right now. And you have that opportunity to get a big discount on your subscription. I highly recommend you do it. It's like 20 some bucks for 6 months, but if you pay for it, you're going to end up paying $36 or something. We're talking about a massive discount. Take advantage. You're going to be here in 6 months. This is the low point of politics, chat. This is the low point. It is going up from here. We're going right into 2025's general elections with Zoran Mamdani, with the Virginia and New Jersey state government races, and then bam, it's in the midterms, and boom, when the midterms are over, we're right into the presidential election. The next 3 years are gonna fly by, so save your money. Get that 6-month subscription. You could also support the stream by gifting subs. We are dangerously close to 7,000, chat. We are at 6,968 subs. We are dangerously close to 7,000. And I want you to know, absent Backbone, he's nipping at my heels, chat. AB, he's at 150 subs. He's right there. He's right behind me. He's nipping at my heels. So to prevent AB from catching me in subscriptions, please consider supporting the stream by subscribing, giving those subs, those biddies. We have a hype trade, the top sub gifter and the top bit donor. Get the hype trade conductor badge, which is a golden locomotive next to your name. You also get a hype chest, which unlocks more emotes site-wide permanently. And the top bit donor, the top subscriber, they get, and believe it or not, chat, a golden locomotive next to their name that becomes a purple locomotive, which is basically a get out of jail free card. When I see someone has a hype trade conductor badge next to their name, my finger, like when I'm about to ban you, I curve. And if you're a tier 3, I reconsider what I'm saying. Like if a tier 3 disagrees with me, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Maybe I need to listen a little bit. Okay. So take advantage of these opportunities to get those hype trade conductor badges, get those things. We are 27 subs away from 7,000. Why don't you run in there, throw it in there, and let me know. Let me just say this. Destiny, H3, AB, Asmongold, Tectone, Olivia Juliana. Do you understand how many people are absolutely mauling that this stream is one of the most popular political streams on Twitch? And honestly, period. And you can tweak every single one of those motherfuckers by gifting some subscriptions. Thank you, anonymous gifters. Cheese Conduit, Mr. Good Time, Rexstar, thank you for the sub. Hoagie Mindset. I've been watching for 33 minutes so far. Wow, time flies. 33 months, actually. You're Marks and me, thank you for the unbelievable 50 bomb. Well, there you have it, chat. We've absolutely smashed through 7,000. And if you think about it, we are only 900 subs away, 968 subs away from 8,000. We are only 968 subs away from 8,000. We are practically at 8,000. We're more than 90% of the way towards 8,000. Holy Marks and me, thank you so much for the 50 subs. I honestly think until we get to 10K subs, absent Backbone, I mean AB, is going to be right behind us. So we got to get to 10,000 before we could take a breath. Mills pays bills. Thank you for the 5 as well. Holy Toledo. All right, let's keep pushing. On to the next thing. Okay, we have David Hogg on Adam Friedland. I know I said we were going to watch this. I kind of want to just skip some of these chapters. I don't know if I can handle a whole Adam Hogg. Like David Hogg, like honest to God, I don't want to be mean. But the fact that he supported Deja Fox to primary a very left-wing candidate from the right tells me everything I need to know. He's fucking stupid. He's dumb as fuck. Like, I'm sorry. And I don't know if you saw the socialist, well, I don't know if she calls herself a socialist, but the left-wing leftist candidate who called it a Gaza genocide just outperformed Kamala Harris by 20 points. One of the biggest overperformances in the entire country was a pro-Gaza left-wing candidate who supports Medicare for all, Green New Deal, etc., etc., etc. And they were primarying her. And what did I, by the way, chat, what did I say? Did I hop on the fucking social media bandwagon of Deja Fox? Or did I tell you it was a grift? Did I tell you she had no fucking chance? And did I point you in the direction of actual political prognostication that's based on reality? How come I'm so much better at this than this guy? I mean, it's fucking crazy. Okay, let's see what he says about Zoran. What is this, Vio? Thai Penang curry. Oh, beef curry. Wow. Unasked for. Let's go. And we got ourselves a lime as well. Chat, I've been working out, and I have to say, I've plateaued a bit on my weight because I've tried to eat more protein, right? And it is pretty good. Like, we're gonna be working out, okay? We're gonna be recomping. I mean, I'm at 169, which is technically normal weight for my height. So let's just say that I'm right under the line, okay? I'm right under the line. I used to be 200. I was 200 in Vegas, but now I'm at 169. Technically, I'm not fat. Muscle weighs more. I'll let you know when that applies to me. Are you 5'6"? What? 5'6" weight would be like 150. 5'6" would be like 150. Yeah, see? They're 160. As you can see, weight 5'10", 5'9", 170 is barely there. 5'9", 160. See how it's overweight is right on the 170 thing? 5'6". The fuck? BMI is an ass metric. It's not a mass metric to me because I'm out of shape. I have done 11 workouts since I started working out again, chat. 11. That doesn't include like walks I've gone on. Okay. I've done 11 lifting sessions since I started. So we are doing it. We are doing it. We are pushing. We're trying to do 3 a week. So 3 a week. I've done 16 workouts this month. It's the 25th. That's a lot of frequency, bro. I've been trying to do 3 a week. It's closer to 2.5 a week. There's been a couple weeks where I couldn't make it to the gym, but I went the next time. I didn't use that as an excuse to break the habit. So I'm telling you to hold myself accountable. Also incorporate 2 cardio days. I've also been doing a little bit of yoga to try to increase my flexibility. So I'll do, dumbbell training, barbell training, and then I'll do a little bit of yoga as well to try to get some, flexibility, a little bit more, to get the stretches in. So it's been okay. The next thing I'm going to do is really start locking in on my calorie counts. That's what I need to lock in, and the macros. I've been kind of not been doing that. So that's the next step. All right, everybody. If someone with 2 degrees in exercise science, if your weight loss is plateauing, you will want to try and maintain that weight for at least 3 months before trying to lose more for both short-term and long-term success. Yeah, that sounds about right. Set a ceiling of X workouts a week and a floor of something like 30 minutes of exercise a day. If it allows for you to miss gym days, but make up for it by doing things like sit-ups at home, helps kill the desire to give up when you fall short. Yeah, I don't want to. Macros are overrated. Focus on exercise. Yeah, I'm no longer overweight, which is good. I was a heavy boy there for a minute.
The Democratic Party is you want more like 10s.
No, that's not what I'm getting.
You got to
at.
get some more 10s in there.
No, I think we need some top tier performers in terms of being able to actually. No. What we're working on.
Zoran is genuinely, that's a handsome guy.
I mean, there was hot girls for Zoran.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm talking about the guy Zoran. I don't care about these girls. I'm talking about how great this guy looks.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he looks phenomenal. He's a
just,
handsome, charismatic guy.
Yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't they want a handsome, charismatic, good speaker in the party?
I think sometimes
we know
because of what he's speaking about. Like that's it. They don't want to have a charismatic guy who's. Thank you guys for all the support, by the way. The answer is they don't want somebody who says we should tax the rich and cut out the fucking consultant scum. And by the way, chat, I'm going to come down on the side of Zoran. I'm going to come down on the side of Zoran, which is there's a lot of people making money, a lot of money from the government in blue states that you could just get rid of, which would cut the amount we're spending and would actually increase the performance of those of those agencies. I'm sorry, but there is waste, fraud, and abuse, and it's in the consulting game. It's in the privatizations. We need to deprivatize and bring more things back under the purview of a government official or government professionals, and we would save money. Sorry, but that's true. And that includes things like the Department of Education. They've got a lot of consultants working for the Department of Education they don't need. We should be spending more on the classroom, more on teachers, more on the facilities, less on consultants and public-private partnerships. And if you have a problem with that, you don't know shit.
Yeah, I think we both do.
Yeah.
I think it's because he actually represents something that is real, right? That he is saying what voters have been wanting for a long time, especially younger people have been wanting for a long time. Younger men have been wanting for a long time. He got 85%
We
young
wanted
men
him, yeah.
in that election.
I've been wanting him for a long time. Yeah.
And but the thing is,
you can see how David Hogg isn't a normal guy because he's not doing any of the like gay baiting. Gay bait! What the fuck is wrong with you? Adam Friedland is pitching, lobbing to you, hit it out of the park. He looks like somebody who's been thinking a lot about men. You give off that vibe, Adam. We know. You don't have to keep saying it. Make a joke.
It's like he had a clear message, and it wasn't just a bunch of bullshit talking points where it's like, oh, we're going to lower prices. Like, sure, he's on TikTok. But the thing is, Andrew Cuomo could have been on TikTok. He would have lost. The only difference would have been is that he would have lost by even more.
Oh, his TikToks would have been fire.
The reason why.
I'm doing a dance.
Something like that.
I'm doing a dance for Israel.
Yeah.
I'm doing the nay for Israel.
The bottom line is, when he was on TikTok, he actually said something, right? And gave something.
Zora?
Yeah, he gave something for young people to actually believe in, a vision to believe in that. I think a lot of Democrats have not. And then he was also obviously extremely, and rightfully so, vocally critical of the state of Israel. And the
I think that was overstated. I think people were like, they were being racist to him because he's Muslim. And
certainly
they wanted to make him into Osama bin Laden, and he's really just a rapper that went to Bowden.
What I think is really admirable is, despite all of that hatred, he ran a ruthlessly positive campaign, right? Where I would say, like, if you look, when Fox News covers him, it's actually hard for them to find photos of him where he's not smiling. Do you know how hard that is, Adam?
I don't know.
It is quite difficult.
Really?
Yes, because they'll find anything. But even when they put up photos of him, he's always smiling.
Do they put frowning pictures of Democrats typically?
Yeah, it's typically like them being upset, or just whatever makes them look the worst way possible. Of course.
Or like looking fat or something.
Yeah. And but when I was with Zoran, we went to Washington Square Park together, during in the final weeks of the campaign. And look, I've worked around
when he was going viral
on different campaigns with younger candidates and everything like that. Because that's what we do at Leaders We Deserve. We help to elect young people, state legislatures and Congress, and sometimes mayor. And the reason why we do that is because we want young people to actually believe they can be represented, that our issues, whether it's affordability or addressing all kinds of things like the obviously fucked up shit that is happening, that Israel is doing right now, and the genocide that they are committing against Palestinians.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with New York? I think that's what the annoying thing is, that everyone's like, will you go to Jerusalem? And then it's like,
it's so weird.
The way it tracked
wasn't
that Zoran didn't win because he was speaking out against Israel. He won because people thought, he won the Jewish vote. He won because it was people were like, this is weird. Why are people talking about this? Cuomo used it to attack him.
Yep.
And then they tried to present New York City as like a anti-Semitic hellscape when we all live here, and it's like, it's New York City. Like this, we live in Seinfeld. Like, what do they think? Right. They think it's not the fucking Warsaw Ghetto. So it wasn't like that. That was just like an attack on him more so because he was he'd been part of activism in the past. But in reality, just on a surface level, this is well articulate, charismatic, and young and handsome guy that seemed chill. The aversion really seems to the guys that are there that are I'm gonna invest heavy in the military industrial complex before I appropriate a weapons package.
Right, it's bullshit.
They just don't want to.
That should be fucking illegal.
They just don't want to stop being there, appropriating weapons packages.
Yeah, of course not.
And they're guys that have been there for 80 years, and they're they're kind of stealing, and they're kind of entrenched in their position. They're they see like a young talent and
they're scared.
They want
to
knife him.
Yeah, because he is an inherent threat to them because he is calling them out on their bullshit and actually is saying something he believes in.
God, it seems almost as if sometimes like the incentive of the Democratic Party is not necessarily to win elections.
Hell no. It's to protect their own power, Adam.
So if that
Adam speaks in a weird cadence. Okay, chat. Sometimes I've got to call it out when I see it. That's just anti-Semitism right there. Okay? That's just, you're being anti-Semitic. Weird cadence? There's absolutely nothing weird about Adam Friedland. That's just Jewish excellence. Okay? That's all you're seeing.
That's your focus. Like, that runs, that puts you in opposition to them. So, like, most likely, like, I mean, in you, like, yeah, they use some procedural bullshit about, like, you being involved. You wanted to fucking primary people that were, like, part of the problem, and then Ken Martin wanted you out, right? Right? And then he was like, you could either work with organization or be the co-chair of the Democratic DNC.
5 vice
Which is
chairs.
like, honestly, what the fuck would you get done there?
Right, and it's like even the smallest things that I brought up, I could tell that we were not going to make progress on. And I also brought up in closed-door meetings at the DNC, I said, look, when we're talking about young voters, because of course, like, we're doing our whole, like, they called an after-action report because it's not an autopsy because we're not dead yet.
So boring.
When they're doing that, what I brought up is like, guys, if you're going to talk about young voters, I know you don't want to talk about this. You have to talk about Gaza. You do.
Well, it's just like Democrats don't support like what's happening in Gaza.
Exactly, but the thing is, inside of DC, they don't want to deal with that because almost all the conversations that I hear from different organizations about congressional campaigns, you know what the 3 things I hear most are?
You hear healthcare, Gaza, inflation?
No, in terms of like how groups inside of DC decide who to support.
Israel.
That's one of them.
Fentanyl, support for fentanyl. And then, just doing like, like going to a satanic blood ritual event.
Yeah, and you forgot obviously all the other stuff on top of that. But what they actually do.
Kissing Netanyahu's on the lips.
Right.
I will say this is actually a really important point. I hope he's allowed to say it.
So gossiping about
who's going to be the congressional representative for Israel, right? And it's just a constant competition for that.
Fetterman.
I mean, it's a tough competition.
He's a big boy, that guy.
But the thing I'm getting at, Adam, is in DC, the 3 questions I hear most often from different groups that get involved in these campaigns is not like, is the candidate actually charismatic enough to like win? How are they polling? Right? Like things you would typically think about. Depressingly, it is extremely depressing how much actual conversation there is about democracy. Because the 3 questions that get asked most is, what is AIPAC doing in this race? What is crypto doing in this race? And what was their last quarter's fundraising and how much cash do they have on hand?
Yeah.
That's all of it.
So you guys need to get as much money.
We do.
Yeah.
We need to get money because we don't take money.
So crypto and AIPAC are basically Nazi groups. The Democratic Party's like, what are the Nazi groups doing? What are the fascists doing?
There was somebody who called me after we supported Zoran. He's like, I was going to give you this substantial amount of money that he had pledged previously. And he's like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Why?
Because you guys supported Zoran and I don't agree with him on Israel. But because we have so many small dollar donors, I got to say, look, man, like that's you. Yeah. We're going to continue doing this work because we're supported by 220,000 individual people around the country who support us because our candidates, they don't take corporate money. We don't take corporate money. And we have to make sure that we have the independence to be able to actually create the change that we need. And it's fucking hard. It's incredibly hard. But what I need from people that are listening to this, if they take nothing else, is to consider running for office. Because this is not
these guys. You don't want these guys.
I mean, honestly, some of them could.
Some of the dregs of humanity.
Because I'll tell you this much: these guys in DC are not actually that fucking smart.
Yeah.
You can outwit them.
They run for the Xbox party.
Okay, but the bottom line is, I don't think any single person is coming to save us. I don't think I can save us. I don't think you can save us. I don't think any single person can. Maybe. But I mean, maybe you can, Adam. I don't know. But I think all of us as a generation, things are incredibly fucked. Right? We know that. And it's easy to talk about, oh, this is all the fucked up shit that's happening. This is how wrong it is. We have to figure out how in the future for the next generation does this conversation not just continue happening over and over again, because we became the leaders that we needed but had far too few of growing up. People who actually stand for something.
It's so funny how he's soapboxing and Adam is like picking his nose.
something and create real change instead of just becoming younger versions of who currently is there and is 80 or 70 years old.
I think we'll end on that, but like, what are the major points that you're going to push for your candidates in the midterms as a litmus test for their election?
Well, for one, it's obviously, for me, it's not taking corporate money, it's being good on guns. It's also making sure that they have a stance that is actually in line with the American people and voters of what they want to happen, the situation that's going on with Israel, right? And actually saying, you know, maybe we shouldn't be giving billions of dollars to a country that says like, oh no, there's not a famine that we're complicit in and fucking starving people and slapping them on the...
Complicit? You mean they're engineering? They're doing it? They're not complicit in it. They're literally making it happen by shooting at everybody who tries to distribute food.
Goddamn risk and acting like there isn't anything that we could do. It's just ridiculous that we are getting pushed around by them when we're the very people that are arming them in the first place. If the United States wanted to, they could stop this. Absolutely, and it's fucking bullshit. It is total bullshit. And we have to get better people elected in the first place. And the thing that we need to ask ourselves is, how do we make sure as a generation that we do not replicate the spinelessness that got us here and build the power that we need to actually achieve what we want? Because in politics, unfortunately, you can only get...
A friend of mine who's a local firefighter was placed on administrative leave for a comment about Charlie Kirk. It was out-of-state right-wing smear campaign that got him placed on leave. What the fuck? I'm so sorry to hear that, man.
You know, if you want 100% of what you want, you need 100% of the power. You can't do that in a democracy. You can get 90% potentially, 80%. We have to figure out how to get to that 80%, and instead of just saying like, well, like this is the right thing to happen. Yeah, it is the right fucking thing to happen, right? Or this is the wrong thing to happen. We need to change that. Regardless of whether it's the NRA, AIPAC, or these other groups, we need to be able to take them on, but we need to build the real power on the left to ensure that we are voting in line with what the American people want and what Democrats, actual Democrats, not the idiots in DC that want to just say like, oh, this is what they really believe in, what Democrats and young people actually believe in. Because we saw that in Zoran's race and the power of it, right? He was not supposed to win that race. If it was a traditional electorate, he would not have won. But because he said what he actually believed in, regardless of whether or not somebody agrees with him, at least you fucking know what he believes in, right? Cuomo started to change his stance more after the primary on all kinds of issues because he's just trying to get elected, and he's spineless. We need people with actual spines, and they need the power.
And talent too.
And the talent.
You can have a guy with a spine that's just like annoying. You know? Like you need a guy that's like, Zoran gives good speeches and he's like,
he's charismatic.
Seems chill. Yeah. He's like a normal thing, right?
I mean,
not to tell you how to do your job.
No,
brother.
it's real. That's what we're trying to do.
I gotta send you this playlist.
You absolutely do.
You're in a dark one right now.
I mean,
how much time are you spending in bed?
Not enough.
The bed is not enough.
Because I'm going to the gym a lot.
You're going gym mode.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna be red pilled like two months.
No,
yeah, he is. He's gonna be listening. Yeah, you're gonna be Tate. He's going Tate mode.
No.
Or you know what you could do instead of going to the gym? Move to New York City, dude.
I seriously thought about it.
Skinny, you don't have to go to the gym at all.
Well,
girls love it.
I mean,
it's a hack. You know what it is? It's women are brainwashed by the film Annie Hall into thinking it's acceptable.
Dude, it was
to like date a Rumpelstiltskin kind of guy.
It's been great for a while, but I think it's starting to change, and I need to change with the times too. I can't look like I'm one cigarette away from death anymore.
Dude, I know. I'm gonna see you talking about high value men pretty soon.
We're gonna see roided out David Hogg. Oh, this is the timeline I wanted to live in.
I'm gonna see you. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Good luck. Give it up for him. David Hogg. You had fun? Yeah.
I'm going to chill a little bit early because my favorite streamer, the streamer who just fed me a delicious Thai curry, is live. So if you would be so kind as to hang out with me in Vio's chat, that's really interesting, Flying Panda. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Appreciate all the support. We broke through 7,000 subscribers today. Let's fucking go. Here's all my profiles. Here's all my links. Make sure you follow me. I'm going to try to post some more tickety talks So make sure you're subscribed to that. Stay safe out there, my friends. Solidarity forever, of course. Free Palestine. And, of course, all our best wishes to the Gaza Flotilla. I think the tide is turning. We are going to break the blockade. We are going to end the genocide. And then we're going to rebuild this fucking country. If you join with me, join DSA, join your local socialist orgs. I'll see you all tomorrow. Stay safe. Solidarity forever, my friends. And say hi to Vito to me. Peace out, buddy. I'll see you tomorrow.